Chapter 442. Someone exclaimed, "Wow, there are so many food trucks. Which teacher's fan is this?" The assistant director smacked his lips and said, "They're probably fans of a few seniors. Anyway, it can't be Xiangyi's fan. It'd be weird if she had one, ha." No one agreed. In the silence, his laughter sounded especially ear-piercing. Whoosh, the food trucks were arranged nicely. There were coffee, sandwiches, and small cakes. The most amazing thing was that there was even a barbecue truck. Everyone? Barbecue on the spot. Whose fan support is this? What a grand display. The crew members whispered among themselves. On every dining car, there was a small colorful flag in a conspicuous position. On the flag there were 4 words printed on it, Spicy Tutu. Spicy Tutu? Whose fan is this? I think it's from Teacher Xiangyi's fan base. An uncertain voice came from the crowd. The catering staff on the barbecue truck smiled and said, "That's right, we're Sister Yi's fan support team." In an instant, the assistant director even forgot to chew. His throat slid and he swallowed a whole fish ball. He choked until his eyes rolled back in discomfort. Xiangyi actually had such a luxurious fan support team? How was that possible? The artistes present all had different expressions. They didn't expect a mere Xiangyi to have such great appeal. Anan said excitedly, "Wow, Sister Yi, your fan club is really awesome." Xiangyi said, "Didn't you and Mr. C help me with this? It's your fans." They were all very happy when they heard that you took on National Mass Workout. Anan showed her the chat history in the fan club. Seeing that someone said that they saved their breakfast money to support her, Xiangyi frowned and said, "These must be very expensive. Calculate how much it costs and help me pay them back." Anan was stunned for a moment. "Sweetheart, this is a kind gesture from the fans. This kind of thing is very normal in the entertainment industry," Xiangyi said sternly. "My fans don't need to spend money on me. I have money." Anan. "Alright, sorry to disturb you. I almost forgot that my darling is a Miss Perfect." He scratched his head and relayed Xiangyi's message in the group. The group was instantly flooded with messages. "Wu Tutu is too gentle and spicy. But I just want to spend money on Sister Yi. What kind of peerless little angel is Xiangyi Kak?" However, under Anan's insistence, the management still calculated the amount. Anan was taken aback when he saw the price. He typed, 4 dining cars only cost this much? The other party sent a voice message. "We only sent a barbecue truck. Is there anything else? Could it be a fan from an unofficial group?" Anan had created an official fan club for Xiangyi. There was a strict vetting process for those who joined the group. They could be considered as Xiangyi's most loyal and hardcore fans. Of course, there were also many groups created by fans. Anan was about to check again when he saw that Si Chuanbai had sent him a WeChat message. "Mr. C, there's no need to ask. The remaining 3 dining cars were arranged by Shi Sui." Nan how nan, huh? So Shi Sui is Sister Yi's #1 fan? I'll go tell Sister Yi now. "Mr. C. I guess so." Si Chuanbai, who was in front of the screen, calmly pushed his glasses up his nose. He probably wasn't the #1 fan. He was probably the #1 suitor. However, his way of expressing his goodwill was too elementary. He didn't even inform Xiangyi and had to rely on him and Little Colored Feather to assist him. Under Chapter 443. Just as Si Chuanbai had expected, Anan told Xiangyi about the Shi Sui support truck as soon as possible. Xiangyi said, "Ah, Senior, you're so nice. You're so thoughtful." Anan couldn't help but overthink. "Oh my, don't you think Shi Sui seems to treat you differently from others?" After all, he had been in the entertainment industry for so many years and was always on the front line. In his impression, Shi Sui had never been involved in any scandals with any female celebrities. Except for Xiangyi. He heard that his team was very good at public relations. If a female celebrity tried to make him a couple, the post would be deleted very quickly. However, now there were all kinds of news, gossip, and posts about him and Xiangyi on the internet, but Shi Sui's team didn't delete a single post. Xiangyi asked in confusion, "Hasn't he always been so nice?" Ever since she was a child, Shi Sui had always been gentle and gentlemanly. He was also impeccable when it came to dealing with others and was very popular with her brother. He was also liked by the elders. Anan opened his mouth and said, "I don't think so." While the two of them were chatting, Sutumi suddenly leaned over and exclaimed angrily, "Xiangyi, why didn't you reply to my message?" Xiangyi said, "Sorry, I didn't look at my phone." Sutumi pouted. She had a sweet and pleasant appearance in the first place, and when she acted coquettishly, it would make one's heart soften. "Tell me then, why do you smell so good? Xiangyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She sent her the link of the body lotion that she often used and casually said, "Do you like sweet perfumes? Give me an address, then I'll send you some homemade perfume later." Su Tumi asked in surprise, "You know how to make perfumes?" Xiangyi said, "I'm an amateur." Su Tumi believed her, but she didn't want to dampen Xiangyi's enthusiasm. After she was rejected when she sent her homemade soap to others previously, she didn't want to make any more handmade products. "Okay, I'll try it then." The two of them chatted for a while and rushed over when they heard the director shouting through the loudspeaker. "Recording countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, I'll announce the rules of the game this time. This round uses the real-life CS competitive mode. The game is divided into two teams, red and blue. There are two ways to win. One is to kill all the members of one team, and the other is to take the other team's flag first. Members of both sides, please guard your own flags and try your best to kill the opposing players. The player with the most kills or the greatest contribution will be the individual MVP of this round. That's all. The game starts now." All the artists were blindfolded and brought to different areas. The moment he saw the light again, he felt a slight pain in his eyes. Xiangyi narrowed her eyes and quickly adapted to the light. She began to judge the environment she was in. Before coming here, Anan had changed her hair into a bun. Xiangyi casually broke a branch of a plant, weaved it into a hat and put it on. She rubbed the toy gun in her hand. It was an imitation of a sniper rifle called the Fall of the Gods, and it even came with a scope. Xiangyi was not in a hurry to look for her teammates. Instead, she first hid the team's flag in a secluded place. In order to ensure the gaming experience, there were no cameramen following them. However, there were cameras all around and there was one above each artist's head. The sound of footsteps could be heard. Xiangyi skillfully lay prone in the secluded place, loaded the gun, scoped in and aimed at the source of the sound. The person who came was not wearing the blue team's badge. Bang! Xiangyi fired without hesitation. Chapter 444. The shot was decisive and firm. The girl's long eyelashes fluttered, and her fingers on the trigger were fair and soft. She didn't tremble at all. She shot him in the heart. The blue dye exploded and covered his upper body. The popular little fresh meat, Junhan, was at a loss. He had a feeling that it was over before it even started. The announcement sounded. Player Xiangyi has killed player Junhan. Player Junhan is out. Immediately afterwards, another announcement sounded. The resurrection card has taken effect. Player Junhan has been resurrected. 2 more lives? Xiangyi raised her eyebrows and was about to fire a second shot when she heard Junhan hurriedly say, "Sister E, don't shoot, he's one of us." He hurriedly took out the blue team badge from his pocket and put it on. Xiangyi was speechless. "So I killed my teammate for the first time?" She walked out from behind the tree feeling a little embarrassed. "Sorry, I thought you were on the red team." Junhan sighed. "I deliberately took off the badge to confuse my opponent, but I didn't expect to confuse my teammate." In the director's office, the director laughed so hard that he was almost out of breath. He could already imagine how overjoyed the audience would be when they saw this scene. This little accident was naturally funny and was not something that could be written in a script. Xiangyi and Junhan walked together. Junhan was a talent show winner and was very good at business and socializing. Even if he didn't have anything to say, he could still strike up a conversation with Xiangyi. "I've watched Two Under One Roof. Xiao Naofu and little Shiji are so cute. The scene of Shui running with them every day is so funny. It was normal to walk dogs, but it was rare to walk cats, let alone run with them. Xiao Naofu was often as tired as a dead dog and had to stay in Shui's pocket for the second half of the journey. It would stick its head out and pant heavily." Xiangyi asked with a subtle expression. "Running? Did he bully Xiao Naofu?" Stunned, Junhan said hesitantly, "Sister E, aren't you going to watch the replay?" Xiangyi shook her head. Junhan was speechless. He felt like he had accidentally dug his own grave. He hurriedly changed the subject. "The item I got in the previous round was the resurrection card. What about you, senior?" In the previous round, Junhan was ranked second. Xiangyi, "Not yet." She took out a small envelope from her pocket and opened it. There was a card inside. Elimination card, description. Using this card can eliminate one player. Wow, this card is good. Sister E, keep it well. You might be able to use this to turn the tables, Junhan said as he leaned towards Xiangyi. He didn't dislike CP fans. On the contrary, he knew what CP fans would bring. Besides, in the current environment of the industry, even if there were rumors about a couple, it was mostly about female artists. Even if she scolded him, what was it in the face of traffic and profits? However, Xiangyi did not intend to cooperate with him. She quietly widened the distance between the two of them. Junhan vaguely realized that she was rejecting him, but he refused to give up. He asked, "Sister E, are you tired? Do you want to take a break?" Xiangyi glanced at him. Junhan didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that she was a little disgusted with him. The girl stopped and broke a branch with a crack. She then broke off the branch with her bare hands and handed it to Junhan calmly. "If you can't walk, I can use this to pull you." Junhan? Did she interpret his concern as her stamina being poor? "It's not convenient to carry you. How about I carry you?" Xiangyi asked sincerely. Chapter 445. Xiangyi was telling the truth. Although she was stronger than ordinary girls and knew how to use her skills, Junhan was still tall and it would be more troublesome to carry him on her back. However, it would save her a lot of effort to carry him. Junhan forced a smile and said, "No, no need." Xiangyi's eyes were clear and bright. Can you? Can you persist? If you can't, don't force yourself." Junhan exclaimed, I can really?" Xiangyi shoved the branch to him and said, "Then use it as a crutch. If necessary, you can use it as a weapon." Junhan was obviously much quieter during the rest of the journey. Gradually, 5 players were eliminated. There were 3 people left in the blue team and 2 in the red team. The players in the red team were all eliminated by Xiangyi. Junhanya was also able to witness Xiangyi's terrifying hit rate. All of them were shot in the heart without exception. He suspected that if it weren't for safety considerations, Xiangyi might have shot him in the head. Passing by the water source, the 2 of them successfully met up with their third teammate, by Wuxia. At the same time, Su Tumi screamed from not far away, "Don't come over, help!" Bai Wuxia was considered a respected senior. Although he wasn't very popular now, he had a high status in the circle. He said, "This isn't a trap, right? A honey trap to lure the enemy in." Xiangyi said with a solemn expression, "I'll go take a look." Bai Wuxia said confidently, Xiangyi, you don't understand. You'll fall into their trap as soon as you go. You're the sharpshooter of our team. If you fall into their trap, how are we going to win?" Junhan hesitated for a moment, but he didn't refute, tacitly agreeing with Bai Wuxia. Although it was a variety show, the audience admired the strong. Who wouldn't like to be on the winning side? Xiangyi's attitude was very firm. "I'll go take a look. Winning or losing is just a game, but what if Su Tumi is really in danger?" The young girl's footsteps were light as she scurried towards the source of the sound. Bai Wuxia and Junhan looked at each other and had no choice but to follow her. Su Tumi was very unlucky today as she didn't run into any teammates, but she was lucky enough to kill 2 players. She proudly hummed a little tune and accidentally walked into the depths of the forest. Suddenly, a man emerged from the bushes. His clothes were tattered and his eyes were fierce. Su Tumi initially thought that it was the plot arranged by the production team, but in the blink of an eye, she realized that something was wrong. There were dried bloodstains on the man's clothes. It wasn't something that could be dyed with those prop pigments. It was real human blood. Su Tumi reacted and stumbled forward. As soon as she ran, it was as if she had ignited some kind of danger signal. The man behind her quickly chased after her. It was as if a beast had locked onto its prey. Su Tumi was even more certain that this person was definitely not arranged by the production team. She screamed with all her might and gestured to every passing camera, hoping that someone would come and save her. In the director's office. Seeing this scene, the director and the others turned pale with fright. They hurriedly ordered more than a dozen staff members to rush over. "This person can't be a fugitive, right?" The assistant director gulped, his palms sweating nervously. "If something happens, our program will be finished." The director's Adam's apple moved and he wanted to bear with it, but he couldn't. He cursed, "Is life important or the program important? Can you be a damn human?" The atmosphere was tense and everyone felt as if there was a sword hanging in their hearts. They were so nervous that their palms were sweaty. Chapter 446. Someone suggested, "Aren't Junhan and the other artistes nearby? Why don't we let them rush over first?" However, someone soon retorted, "How can we do that? What if that man has a weapon? It's too dangerous." Everyone was full of regret. They thought that they had made full preparations, but who would have thought that such an accident would happen? Suddenly, the director exclaimed, "Xiangyi is going over." Ha! In the lush and deep jungle, Xiangyi's footsteps were light and she ran extremely quickly. She rushed to the source of the sound as quickly as she could, but there was no one around. There were only traces of the grass being crushed. Every artiste was equipped with a headset for emergency communication. The director hurriedly contacted Xiangyi and said, "Su Tumi is not far from you, she's right in front of you at 3 o'clock. Before she finished speaking, she had already followed the traces on the ground and ran straight. Somewhere behind the bushes. Su Tumi's mouth was covered by a pair of dirty hands and she felt suffocated. At first she could still make some muffled sounds, but soon she didn't even have the strength to make a sound. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Su Tumi never thought that she would encounter such a thing. For a moment she even felt that perhaps dying here would be the best outcome. Otherwise, what should she do when the entire entertainment industry finds out about this? The sound of the man's rapid breathing came from behind her, accompanied by the rustling of clothes. Su Tumi closed her eyes in despair. Bang! Two voices, one after the other, suddenly rang out. The first was the sound of a toy bullet exploding. The second was the man's painful shriek behind her. Su Tumi opened her eyes abruptly and saw Xiangyi's slender figure in a trance. The young girl was wearing a camouflage uniform and a hat made of branches on her head. There were leaves hanging on her eyebrows and her gaze was terrifyingly cold. She held the sniper rifle and fired a second shot at the man. Both shots were headshots. Although it was a toy bullet, it had a certain degree of lethality, let alone a fragile part like the head. The man fell to the ground in pain. He cursed and tried to take Su Tumi hostage. Su Tumi was so scared that she even forgot to escape and struggle. She was dumbfounded. Seeing that the man was about to succeed, Xiangyi leaped forward and began fighting with him. The man's skills were unexpectedly good, and the two fell into a stalemate for a while. Junhan and the others had rushed over as well. Upon seeing this scene, Junhan tightened his grip on the walking stick that Xiangyi had made for him earlier. He asked hesitantly, "Senior, should we go over and help?" Wuxia coughed. Well, why don't you young people go? I'm already so old, so I won't join in the fun." His eyes were very sharp. He had just seen a bulge in the pocket of the man's shirt. It looked like a knife. Only a fool would save a damsel in distress. This was not an act. The most important thing was to protect his own life. Junhan? In fact, he didn't dare to. Not everyone had the courage to face such a thing. Junhan took a few steps forward hesitantly, and his calves began to twitch. He gritted his teeth and was about to step forward when he realized that the man had taken out a fruit knife, making him shiver in fear. Why is there a knife? Wuxia looked as if he had expected it and comforted him. "Someone will come over later. Let's stand further away. If Xiangyi can't hold on, we'll be in trouble." Chapter 447. Little did they know that their conversation was all picked up by the equipment and transmitted back to the director's room. All of a sudden, the room was silent and even the sound of breathing seemed to have disappeared. To be fair, Wuxia was right. Legally speaking, there was no obligation to save others without ensuring one's own safety. However, what he said made her feel especially uncomfortable. If they were strangers it would be fine, but Xiangyi and Su Tumi were considered colleagues. Yet, he stood by and watched the two girls fall into danger. "Ah!" Su Tumi screamed, drawing everyone's attention back to Xiangyi. The young girl couldn't dodge in time and was slashed on her cheek. However, she also found a flaw in the man's defense and removed his arm. She kicked the knife away and restrained him with her knee. The man refused to give up and the two of them got into a fight. Xiangyi's forehead was covered in sweat and her fair face was flushed. However, she didn't forget to remind Su Tumi, "Leave first." Su Tumi's eyes were red and there were still traces of tears. She nodded and stumbled towards Junhan and Wuxia. Wuxia's expression changed drastically. "Tumi, don't run towards us. What if that man breaks free?" Su Tumi immediately felt like she had been splashed with a basin of ice water as she felt cold from head to toe. She pursed her lips and wanted to say something, but she didn't have any strength at all. Su Tumi remained silent and moved in another direction to stand further away from Wuxia. Wuxia was still dissatisfied and he complained to Junhan, "The bad guys were targeting the two of them in the first place. Aren't they afraid of implicating us? Their EQ is really low." Junhan ignored him and kept his gaze fixed on Xiangyi. The wound on the girl's face was bleeding continuously, staining half of her face red. She was supposed to be a pitiful little girl hiding behind a man, but somehow, she had the explosive power and ferocity to fight the vicious gangster alone until now. In that second, shame defeated cowardice and courage defeated cowardice. Junhan roared to give himself some courage and rushed forward. Coincidentally, the man almost broke free from Xiangyi's shackles, but Junhan hit the back of his neck with his crutch and he groaned in pain. Junhan helped Xiangyi hold him down. After all, he was a grown man and was quite strong. Even so, the two of them almost failed to hold each other down. Fortunately, the staff arrived in time and tied him up with ropes in a flurry. Soon the police arrived. Before the man was taken away, he glared viciously at Xiangyi. Xiangyi looked at him calmly. There was no fear or hatred, only indifference in her eyes. It was as if from the bottom of his heart, he didn't care about the person in front of him at all. The dust settled. The director announced the end of the filming and called for an ambulance to take Su Tumi and Xiangyi to the nearest hospital. Dong Mei was a stay-at-home mother. Today, she brought her child to the hospital for an intravenous drip and happened to bump into the crew of National Mass Workout, who came to the hospital. She poked her head in curiously and found that the doctor was applying medicine on Xiangyi's face. Hence, she secretly took a photo and posted it at night. Meihua Xiangzi Kahanlai, I'm really speechless. Are celebrities superior to others? She just suffered a minor injury. Is there a need to make such a big fuss? I also asked around and found out that this celebrity is called Xiangyi. I've never heard of a small-time celebrity, let alone a major one. I'm furious. Chapter 448. Because this Weibo post included Xiangyi's name, there were dozens of comments in less than 2 minutes. I'm dying of laughter. It's just a minor injury. If she went to the hospital a little later, she would have recovered. Ha, this is how medical resources are wasted. More than a dozen people are circling around her. Isn't she the little princess? Blogger, you're calling her a small-time celebrity. Be careful that her fans don't come and bite you. Her fans think she's an A-lister. There were also some spicy Tutu fans who noticed this Weibo post and raised their own doubts. Celebrities are humans too. If ordinary people can go to the emergency room, can't celebrities do the same? Look at the schedule posted by the official fan club. Sister E is filming National Mass Workout today. For example, if you get injured at work and your colleagues accompany you to the hospital, what's wrong with that? Sister E injured her face. Even if she's not an artiste, it's still a big deal for an ordinary girl to have her face injured. There are only 2 doctors and nurses among the dozen or so people. The others are obviously staff. How can they criticize her? Dong Mei paid the fee and opened her Weibo account excitedly. She had never received so many comments on her Weibo posts in the past. Now she saw that there were hundreds of comments below, and there were also fans and haters arguing fiercely. She felt as if she had suddenly gained a sense of existence and many people were paying attention to her. Her vanity was greatly satisfied. Hence, Dong Mei posted 2 more Weibo posts. Meihua Xiangzi Kahanlai? I heard from other patients that they even used a stretcher. I wonder why someone with an injured face has to sleep on a stretcher? Meihua Xiangzi Kahanlai. I bumped into by Wuxia when I was paying the bill. He doesn't look old at all. He's still as elegant as ever. He's especially charming. TSK, the entertainment industry is still the best. He'll even take the initiative to help the younger generation pay, unlike some small-time celebrities who wish they could wrap themselves up like mummies. These 2 Weibo posts aroused the anger of many netizens. Through the screen, the netizens attacked Xiangyi, other celebrities, and the culture of the entertainment industry as if everyone was a judge. Dong Mei enjoyed the dense comments with relish. She even ignored her son who told her that he was thirsty and wanted some water. After Su Tumi's diagnosis came out, she was greatly shocked and needed to rest well. Junhan also suffered some scratches. On the contrary, Xiangyi was the one with the most serious injuries. There were bruises on her arms and knees. Her left wrist was slightly fractured. The skin at the corner of her mouth was cut. There was also a knife wound on her face. Little girl, your wound may leave a scar. The doctor sighed. He heard about Xiangyi's heroic act and felt that it was a pity. But he was afraid that Xiangyi would be sad, so he comforted her. But don't worry, the medical technology is very mature now. If it's done well, there won't be any scar. Xiangyi thanked him and handed a tissue to Anan with her right hand. She said helplessly, all right, don't cry. She didn't cry, but Anan cried miserably. Moreover, he was wailing loudly. Oh my God, you scared me to death. It's all my fault, I should have stayed with you. Wah 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 wah. He burped, feeling both funny and sad. Xiangyi, I'm really fine, it doesn't hurt at all. I've suffered much more serious injuries in the past and I didn't even cry. In the next second, a slender and tall figure appeared in front of her. Xiangyi suddenly felt a little pain. Chapter 449. Shi Sui strode into the emergency room and saw Xiangyi sitting obediently on the treatment chair. Her eyes were clear and bright as she looked at him quietly. The heavy stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. He subconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. However, when he saw the gauze on Xiangyi's face and wrist, his brows furrowed. The man's Adam's apple bobbed. Words of concern were on the tip of his tongue, but he didn't know how to say them. All the formalities and etiquette had lost their effect in front of her. Instead, Xiangyi spoke first. Her voice was soft and tender. Sure Sui. Sure Sui suppressed his fluctuating emotions. Yes. I'm hungry. The girl was a little aggrieved. I miss Xiao Naofu. The softest corner of her heart felt as if it had been bumped lightly. There was an indescribable sourness and warmth. Sure Sui raised his hand and rubbed her hair. I left a tablet in the living room. You can video call Xiao Naofu. I'll go buy you some food. Xiangyi was stunned. Does he know that Xiao Naofu isn't an ordinary kitten? As if seeing through her thoughts, Sure Sui whispered, This is our little secret. Thump thump. His heart was beating wildly as if fireworks were being set off. Bang 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 bang. Xiangyi's expression was still calm, but the tips of her crimson ears betrayed her. Sure Sui went to buy food while Xiangyi was in the lounge. She made a video call. It only rang twice before it was picked up. A magnified cat face appeared on the screen. Xiao Naofu cried anxiously, Meow. Meow meow? Stupid woman. How are you? It's me, I'm fine. Don't worry. Xiangyi's tone was gentle as she comforted it. Have you eaten? Meow meow. Meow. Xiao Naofu saw the wound on her face. Its ears drooped and its bright eyes were filled with tears. Its furry paws gently touched Xiangyi's face through the screen. What a stupid woman, stupid woman. Always injuring herself, Xiao Naofu suddenly felt that it was useless. If only it was a ferocious tiger, it could protect this stupid woman from being bullied by bad guys. Although it didn't want to admit it, it had to admit that it could only be a useless kitten. Little Shiji leaned over and nudged Xiao Naofu with his creamy yellow head, seemingly trying to comfort it. After Xiangyi video called them for a while, Sure Sui came back with the food. When the director of National Mass Workouts saw him, he was extremely surprised. He didn't expect that someone like Sure Sui would lower himself to buy food for Xiangyi. Are you here to see Sister Yi? The director still had a lingering fear when he recalled the scene where Xiangyi fought with the bad guys. He sighed and said, Fortunately, Sister Yi was here. Otherwise, the consequences today would have been unimaginable. What if Su Tumi was really? Not only would Su Tumi be traumatized for the rest of her life, but everyone in the production team who had a conscience wouldn't forgive themselves either. Sure Sui nodded in greeting, his attitude slightly cold. It was very different from his usual gentle and quiet way of dealing with people. The scriptwriter looked at his back and whispered, Sure Sui is so cold and aloof. The director smiled bitterly. How is this cold and aloof? He's angry. However, it turns out that a person like Sure Sui who is so meticulous in every aspect, would actually give others a cold shoulder? Kacha. Dong Mei secretly took a photo of Sure Sui's silhouette and was extremely agitated. She immediately posted it on the internet. Chapter 450. Meihua Xiangzi Kohan Lai. How delicate can a female celebrity be? It's just a flesh wound, yet she still has the cheek to ask Sure Sui to buy food for her. I'm impressed. On the hospital bed, her son said weakly, Mommy, I'm cold. What are you cold for? Don't bother me. Dong Mei hollered impatiently. Mommy is busy. The child pursed his lips and fell silent, watching his mother play with her cell phone. Is the cell phone more important than me? Dong Mei swiped her fingers and scrolled through the comments on Weibo, thinking that she would still see the netizens arguing or asking her to expose more information. To her surprise, the scene changed abruptly. Did Sure Sui visit her? I sure bought food for Sister E, but I got candy. Hee, I'm going to piss you guys off. Sure Sui just likes our mediocre Xiangyi. Oh my god, am I the only one who noticed that Sure Sui is wearing slippers? The pair that he wore at home during the live stream. So he came here to see Sister E? KSW. Dong Mei was dumbfounded. What's going on? Why isn't anyone criticizing Xiangyi anymore? In fact, there were still people who were criticizing her, but there were too many people who were indulging in candy. Hence, those comments were pushed down. However, Bai Wuxia, who was feeling guilty, accidentally saw this post on Weibo and hurriedly got his team to buy a trending topic. Hashtag Xiangyi acting like a big shot. Hashtag he felt that the netizens didn't care about the truth, but rather they just needed to vent their emotions. Hence, he wanted to take advantage of the situation and push Xiangyi to the peak of public opinion while he pretended that nothing had happened. He could even create the image of an old senior who didn't want to become famous. The power of trending topics was terrifying. As soon as the words were posted, countless netizens clicked on them. When everyone saw Dong Mei's news, the words acting like a big shot, superior, and medical resources easily stirred up emotions and poked at their sore spots. All of a sudden, the netizens got excited and pointed their keyboards at Xiangyi. No way, no way, no way? She's acting like a big shot? Oh, so celebrities are the privileged class now? Can't you treat this kind of minor injury yourself? They just had to occupy medical resources. Our country's doctors and nurses are already overworked. Don't you know how to reduce the burden on the medical staff? For a time, Xiangyi was once again caught in the whirlpool of the storm. Bai Wuxia also secretly bought some internet water army and bragged that he cared for the younger generation and did not put on airs. Unexpectedly, he received a very normal effect. Teacher Bai is so nice, where else can you find such a senior? When Bai Wuxia became popular, Xiangyi was still drinking milk. She wants her senior to pay for her? That doesn't make sense. Senior White's acting skills are so good, but he doesn't have any roles or resources. On the other hand, a powerless artist like Xiangyi relied on live broadcasts to become famous. I'm speechless. Just as the netizens were flaming him the most, the director of National Mass Workout posted on Weibo. Laozhu next door, I was too busy just now and it was chaotic. Now, I want to clarify that Xiangyi V is not acting like a big shot. Today, during the recording of the show, an accident happened. Xiangyi was injured because she was trying to save someone. In addition, her injuries in the ambulance were not minor either. She had a knife wound on her face and a fractured wrist. At that time, there were other injured artists in the ambulance. The three of them were squeezed into one car. Our staff drove the car ourselves, so there was no issue of occupying medical resources. Netizens, please think carefully. Be careful with your words. Be careful. Chapter 451. The three exclamation marks expressed Director Zhu's indignation. Having been in the entertainment industry for many years, he could tell at a glance the twists and turns behind the hot search list. However, on account of Bai Wuxia's seniority, he didn't mention the fact that Bai Wuxia left Xiangyi in the lurch. The netizens who were scolding Xiangyi were dumbfounded. What? Is Xiangyi really that good? She's willing to sacrifice herself to save others? However, the focus of the Spicy Tutu fans was on the injury, and they all felt their hearts ache. What's going on? Oh my God, a knife wound? And on her face? And a bone fracture. What exactly happened? Xiangyi is so pitiful, her old mother is about to cry. There was a huge uproar on the internet. The lounge was quiet and cozy. Xiangyi scooped up steamed chestnut pumpkin with a spoon and ate it while Shui peeled an egg for her with his slender fingers. Is there anything else you want to eat? He asked. Xiangyi thought about it and tilted her head. Spicy hot pot? You can't eat spicy food now. I was just thinking about it. Don't even think about it. Shui handed her the peeled egg. Xiangyi was both upset and angry. She bit off half of the egg in one bite and choked until her face turned red. Fortunately, Shui poured her a glass of warm water in time. Eat slowly, he said in a helpless and doting tone. Xiangyi paused and changed the subject in order to hide her embarrassment. When did you find out about Xiao Naofu? Shui raised his eyebrows. Isn't it obvious? Which kitten knows how to act and is so good at acting? Xiangyi was speechless. That's true. What else do you know? Xiangyi asked tentatively. She was just asking casually, but to her surprise, Shui looked at her deeply and said, The you from last year wasn't you, was it? Xiangyi was speechless. Her eyes widened in shock. He can tell? Shui said gently, After all, I'm a professional at acting. Many things could be acted out, but what was acted out was ultimately just an act. It wasn't completely real. Xiangyi recalled the scene of her transmigration and felt a little guilty. That me, did I do anything to you at the hotel that day? Shui slowly picked up an apple and peeled it. There was a hint of teasing in her lazy voice. Sister E, do you think that you will succeed? He threw the question back. Xiangyi panicked even more. No, it can't be that something really happened, right? Are you okay? Were they bullied? Was she taken advantage of? Have you been wronged? The handsome man had a pair of deep and charming peach blossom eyes. Sister E, what are you worried about? Are you afraid that I'm not clean? Xiangyi's ears began to turn red as soon as she heard his flirtatious words. That's not what I meant. Cleanliness or not, it's all the shackles of the secular ethics. It shouldn't become prejudice and be taken to heart. Whoosh, Shui closed the distance between the two of them. His eyes were pure black as he stared at the young lady in front of him without blinking. So, Sister E, what you mean is that no matter what kind of person I am, Sister E won't mind? Xiangyi vaguely felt that his words were a trap. However, she trusted Shui too much and instinctively replied with a soft, yes. Then what if I'm a bad person? Shui asked with a smile. Xiangyi retorted instinctively, no you won't. You're very very good. Then she saw the man in front of her curl his lips. What should I do? I don't want to be a good person at all. Chapter 452. Xiangyi's eyelashes fluttered. Before she could react, her eyes were covered. It was a sudden darkness. Shui. She called out to him in confusion. There was doubt in her voice. But she was not afraid. Shui paused in his movements. You? Xiangyi bit her lower lip and hesitated for a few seconds before asking, are you going to kiss me? Shui was speechless for a moment. Although he wanted to be a bad guy from the bottom of his heart, after being exposed he felt a little embarrassed. The rational person in his heart and the devil person were in a fierce confrontation. Xiangyi's face was completely red. Even her voice was trembling, but she still pretended to be calm and indifferent. Then you can kiss me. Bang. It was like fireworks bursting in the sky at the end of the century. Her heart was racing at the speed of a 100-meter dash. Her ears were filled with chaotic noises. For a moment time seemed to have stopped. Shui's clear throat moved. His voice was a little hoarse. Sister E, do you know what you are saying? Xiangyi said, Anan told me a phrase recently. I think it makes sense. I think I'm a little like an old pervert. Shui was stunned for a moment. After a moment he laughed involuntarily. You're really, whoosh? Her heartbeat slowed down. It was as if she had rolled on cotton candy in the clouds, wrapped in sweetness. Xiangyi waited for a long time but he did not kiss her. She was a little nervous. She felt that Shui treated her differently. But she was not sure how much Shui liked her. Was it the same as her or was it different from her? But now he was not even willing to kiss her, so it might be the latter, because of the visual barrier. What she did not know was how hot and lustful the man in front of her was at this moment. He wanted to eat the little rabbit in front of him. He did not want to be a good person. Yet he wanted to be a good person for her. Shui leaned close to her ear, and the warmth of his breath fell on the girl's slender white neck. Do you like me? Xiangyi said calmly, yes. Not a fan of mommies? I'm sorry I've become a fan. It was dark in front of her, but her hearing was magnified. She keenly heard Shui's low and deep laughter. He said, Sister E, then I'll take it as you confessing to me. Xiangyi, was there something not quite right? There's no need for that. Shui's words made Xiangyi's heart sink to the bottom of the valley like a roller coaster. Then there was a turn of events as if he had ascended to the clouds. Wifey fan, do you want to try? Xiangyi suddenly pulled his hand away. In a moment of carelessness she used her own broken hand. The pain made her suck in a breath of cold air. Shui frowned slightly and pressed down on her restless hand. Don't move. The girl's doe eyes were bright. Do you like me? Shui did not answer. Clearly, in countless movies and dramas, he could confess to unfamiliar actresses. But at this moment, facing Xiangyi, he felt embarrassed. He looked a little helpless, licked the corner of his mouth and was about to say something when he heard Xiangyi say firmly, You like me. She used a statement which was firm and full of courage. Shui was infected by her and there was a happy smile on his face. Yes, I like you and you like me too. Xiangyi coughed and raised her chin proudly. Then we are in love with each other. Then do you want to be my boyfriend? Chapter 453. In the lounge, it was so quiet that only the sound of each other's breathing could be heard. Even the air seemed to have been tainted with a hint of sweetness. Xiangyi asked too frankly. Probably because of her upbringing, she never felt that love was something that couldn't be said out loud. Love was meant to be expressed. Actions and words were both ways. Shui also answered naturally, Okay. He paused and smiled. But I should be the one to say this first. Xiangyi, then let's pretend to do it again and you confess to me. A sly look flashed across the girl's eyes, like a little fox. But it was especially cute. Shui was especially cooperative as he straightened his tie and cuffs in a serious manner. He even picked up a rose from a vase and said in a very ritualistic manner, Xiangyi, would you like to be my girlfriend? Xiangyi nodded her little head. Okay, boyfriend. The girl was childish and her smile was pure and bright. Shui picked up a half-peeled apple and was childish with her. Girlfriend, do you want to cut the fruit into small pieces? Xiangyi gestured with her hands. Boyfriend, I want it this big. The two looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh at the same time. Shui quickly peeled the apple and the skin was not broken at all. Xiangyi sat on the bed wrapped in a blanket, eating the apple that Shui fed her, and her happy little legs dangled in the air. When Anan came in he saw her sweet and silly smile. How did Sister Yi become so stupid? Anan strode forward and reached out to touch Xiangyi's forehead. Good girl, do you have a fever? Before he could touch the corner of the girl's clothes, his hand was stopped halfway by a pair of big hands and tightly shackled. Shui said neither too fast nor too slow, there are differences between men and women. Anan blurted out, you're already in the same room as Sister Yi. Aren't you a man? He's my boyfriend. After Xiangyi said that she felt like a show-off. She shyly wrapped the blanket more tightly. Anan? His eyes widened as he looked at Shui in disbelief. Just like that, Shuringdi was promoted? It took a few minutes for Anan to accept this reality. He gulped and said, good girl, if your brothers find out, what are we going to do? What will they do to Shuringdi's legs? Crack? He made a gesture to interrupt. Xiangyi said, no, I'll protect him. Shui smiled. Thank you, Sister Ying, it's great to have Sister Yi around. It's normal for a girlfriend to protect her boyfriend. Xiangyi looked calm on the surface, but her little body was twitching again. Anan looked at this scene in shock. Shuringdi, why are you acting so natural with your gigolo face? He risked his life and said, Shuringdi, if you act like this, your fans might think that you're living off a woman. Shui raised her eyebrows. Can anyone live off a woman? Anan, this? Many people can live off Sister Yi, but I'm the only one who can live off Sister Yi. Anan's eyes started to glaze over. Who is it? Shui's eyes suddenly turned sharp and shot out of the lounge. Anan quickly went to open the door and found a woman in her 30s secretly taking photos through the crack of the door with her phone. He said with a sullen face, Madam, please delete the photos or videos. Being discovered, the woman panicked at first, then muttered softly, why are you being so fierce? Aren't celebrities supposed to be photographed by others? Chapter 454. Anan was speechless. Celebrities also have their personal time and space. You're violating their privacy and portrait rights. Dong Mei saw that the other party wasn't tall and had colorful hair. He looked like a hooligan, so she didn't take Anan seriously. She lied through her teeth. I didn't take any photos, I was just looking. Who took any photos? Don't talk nonsense and slander people. Which law says that ordinary people can't look at celebrities when they meet them? Anan took a deep breath and resisted the urge to pull her hair. He tried his best to calm down and said, give me your phone. You can leave after I delete the photos. Dong Mei's eyes darted around and she had to stir things up. My phone is my private property. Why should I give it to you? You're invading my privacy. Don't come over. Someone nurse. Someone is robbing me. Anan was so angry that his head was buzzing. She was allowed to invade other people's privacy, but it was a crime for other people to legally defend their rights? He had never seen such double standards. Her voice was loud and the commotion was too loud. A nurse immediately rushed over to understand the situation. Dong Mei made the first move. It's him. Nurse, look at his hooligan appearance. He even wants to snatch my phone. Your hospital service is really bad. How can you let such a person in? Anan was speechless. The nurse had a headache and could only persuade both sides. Anan was still arguing, but when he turned his head, he found that the woman had sneaked away. F***ck, what kind of person is this? The difference between people is bigger than the difference between a human and a dog. Damn it. Si Chuanbai had just gotten out of the elevator when he heard a certain little girl with colorful hair swearing. He coughed lightly. The next second, Anan quickly changed his words. His mother's mother is called Grandma and his father's father is called Grandpa. Si Chuanbai's eyes were full of smiles, but on the surface he still looked like a serious elite. What happened? Anan reluctantly recounted the whole story. Si Chuanbai frowned. I'm afraid that woman didn't secretly take 1 or 2 photos. Not long ago a Weibo post was trending. Fortunately, Director Zhu came out to clarify. This hospital was located in a remote area, and there was not much traffic. He refreshed his Weibo. Sure enough, the other party had updated his Weibo, and his words were full of sarcasm. Meihua Xiangzi Kahanlai. Oh my god, I can't stand how pretentious this female celebrity is. She even needs her assistant to feed her when she eats. What was even weirder was that there was a little hooligan beside her. His hair was dyed in different colors and he looked like a delinquent. I only took a few photos and he actually scolded me. Luckily, I was quick-witted and insisted that I didn't take any photos. He couldn't do anything to me. In addition to the text, she also attached a few pictures that she had secretly taken. Dong Mei was proud of her cleverness. She had set the settings that she could only comment if she followed someone. Now her Weibo followers had increased from dozens to thousands. She was very excited. If it could rise to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, wouldn't she be able to become famous on the internet just by scolding celebrities? How could he earn money while lying down at home? She didn't expect that she would fail this time. And it was a thorough search. As for the untimely couple fans, they welcomed another wave of celebration. What assistant? This is Shuringdi. Shuringdi is feeding Sister Ich. I'm dead. Why are you feeding her with your hands? Use your mouth. Use your mouth. Do you hear me? Chapter 455. The group of fans chewed on the candies and screamed like groundhogs. This couple must be the most genuine couple in the entertainment industry, right? The sweetest, right? It's not a loss to invest in them. Shui's sister and Spicy Tutu's fans felt a little strange. Most people hoped that Shui and Xiangyu would be beautiful on their own, but the two of them were so close. They really couldn't help but think about it. Could it be, something's really going on? For a moment, the fans of both parties were discussing what to do if this couple was real. In addition to the couple, Dong Mei was also ridiculed by a large number of netizens. I'm dying of laughter. You don't even know who Shui is and you keep calling him an assistant. You're twisting the facts, you know? Anan's little colorful hair has offended you. It's clearly very artistic. Even ordinary teachers can't dye it that way. The blogger's smug face is really disgusting. Xiangyi is a celebrity, but she's also a patient. Other things aside, secretly taking photos of her is really tasteless. Looking at the abusive comments on the screen, Dong Mei's expression froze. Public opinion on the internet changed rapidly. One second they would praise you to the heavens and the next second they would trample you into the mud. Those who used public opinion as a sword to kill would definitely die by the sword. She deleted the latest Weibo post dejectedly, trying to pretend that nothing had happened. Unexpectedly, the netizens scolded her even more fiercely. Oh, you're feeling guilty already? Are you there? Why aren't you jumping out and prancing around? Are you visiting your mother's grave? Secretly taking photos is illegal. Be careful. Tutu Brother V's lawyer's warning letter. Dong Mei panicked and trembled as she typed. Meihua Xiangzi Kahanlai. I'm just an ordinary single mother who came to the hospital with her child and happened to bump into a celebrity. I don't know anything about the entertainment industry at all. I was just casually complaining, but I didn't expect it to attract attention. Let me go. Stop scolding me. As soon as this Weibo post was posted, some people's hearts softened when they saw the words single mother. They were all humans and had compassion. At the thought of a woman raising a child, it was indeed not easy. Hence, many people not only stopped scolding her, but they also deleted their previous comments. Dong Mei saw that the comment section gradually calmed down and heaved a sigh of relief. Suddenly a nurse shouted, "Whose child is this? Why don't you think so?" Dong Mei went over with the intention of watching a good show. She didn't expect that the one who fell down the stairs was her son. The child's knees were bruised and his palms were scraped. The drip bottle was broken and the needle in his hand was bleeding again. It was a shocking sight. The nurse was carefully removing the needle for him. "Mommy, I'm not in pain." The child's eyes were wet. "I can't find you. Where did you go?" The surrounding people looked at him strangely, as if they were silently criticizing him. A fire of annoyance rose from the bottom of Dong Mei's heart. "Who told you to look for me? If you just stay there obediently and get in for drip, do you know how to fall? You only bring me trouble every day." The child trembled in fear and said timidly, I just want to go to the toilet." An old granny next to her said unhappily, "The child is so young. How can you leave the child alone? As a mother, you are too magnanimous." "It's none of your business, old woman." Dong Mei roared and grabbed the back of her son's collar. "You're so annoying. How old are you? Can't you go to the toilet yourself?" The child was already at his limit when she grabbed him. He was so scared that he instantly peed his pants. The response he got was a slap from his mother. Chapter 456. Smack. The crisp sound made the people around them shudder in fear. Dong Mei scolded, "Will you die if you hold it in for a while longer? You're already so old, yet you still wet your pants. How disgusting. Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me? Why did I give birth to a son like you?" The child's face turned pale as if he had done something terrible. He was so scared that his body began to tremble. The old lady from earlier said angrily, "What kind of mother are you? The other passers-by were also very indignant. Not far away, a young man had recorded all of this on video. Dong Mei acted like a shrew in the hospital and scolded all the passers-by who were criticizing her. Only then did she take the child back to get an intravenous drip. The child was wearing soaked pants and didn't dare to speak or sit down, for fear of dirtying the hospital chair. There were still nurses who couldn't bear to see him like this and found a pair of hospital pants for him to change into. "Thank you, sister." The child thanked her obediently. "You're welcome." The nurse smiled at him and raised her hand to ruffle his hair. When she returned to her shift, she vaguely heard some patients discussing things like, this video of her hitting the child is so popular, and, people like her don't deserve to be parents. She glanced at it curiously and realized that the woman in the video was the pitiful child's mother. The nurse clenched her fists, feeling a sense of satisfaction. On this day, countless people's social media platforms were flooded by a small video. The way the mother treated the child in the video was jaw-dropping. That last slap and the child's tearful tears touched countless people's hearts. You have to take exams to get into school, but why don't parents have to take exams? She left her child alone and even hit him. Is this mother her biological child? After watching this video, I realized that not everyone in this world is worthy of being a parent. The anger of the netizens was astonishing. It didn't take long for someone to dig out Dong Mei's information. Her Weibo account did not escape the sharp eyes of the netizens. When they saw that she had posted on Weibo to slander Jianghu, their anger doubled. The backlash of public opinion was also astonishing. Within a few minutes, her Weibo account was completely flooded. Later, Dong Mei's old classmate in real life also revealed that she wasn't a single mother at all. He even posted a screenshot of her family of 3 going on a trip. The evidence was irrefutable. The netizens who found out that they had been cheated were all furious. Was this woman treating them like monkeys? Dong Mei's phone was flooded with countless calls and messages. Even her husband's unit knew that she had hit the child and spread rumors. He might not even be able to keep his job. When she posted her first Weibo post, she never expected that retribution would come so quickly. The woman sat down on the hospital floor and cried bitterly. She regretted her actions. In the lounge, Si Chuanbai walked in and realized that the atmosphere in the room was different. He pushed up his glasses and asked calmly, "You two are together?" Anan followed behind him, his head full of question marks. No, how could Mr. C tell at a glance? Jianghu nodded. Shui smiled. Yes, Sister E is my girlfriend, Anan. Shuringdi actually has such a childish side. Si Chuanbai was indeed a top manager. His first reaction was from the perspective of their work. Then, are you going to make it public? This time it was Shui's turn to nod. However, Jianghu said straightforwardly, what if you two break up? Shui? Chapter 457. They had been officially dating for less than an hour, right? She was already considering a breakup? Anan kept coughing and hinting wildly. Sister E, your way of thinking is too dangerous. Anan, is your throat feeling uncomfortable? I'll make you some loquat cream when we get back. Jianghu blinked and looked at Shui. She said in a gentle and serious tone, from a logical point of view, there is indeed a possibility of us breaking up. Wouldn't we have to make our relationship public again? Wouldn't that be too troublesome? Shui. So, the reason why the little girl didn't want to make their relationship public was because she was worried about breaking up? His voice was low and hoarse as he said faintly, Sister E, do you think I'm troublesome? That's not what I meant. I meant that making it public would be troublesome. Shui lowered his eyes. His thick and long eyelashes cast a faint shadow on his cold white skin. He looked pitiful. You don't have to say any more. I understand. I'll just listen to Sister E. Jianghu wavered. She curled her toes and struggled for a few seconds. Then she said, why don't we make it public? Shui raised his chiseled chin and his dark eyes lit up. Jianghu, have you agreed to give me a status? That's great. So, in Sister Yi's heart, I'm not someone who can't be seen in public. Jianghu was anxious. How could she forget that Shui was a fragile? Her man was her big baby. She had to pamper him. How could she hurt his delicate heart? No, I don't think of you that way. Then what does Sister E think of me? She thinks you're very good. Thus, Si Chuanbai and Anan watched helplessly as the little girl wrapped in a small blanket shyly flattered Shui. Anan. Shuringdi, even the tea sage would call you an expert when he sees you. Si Chuanbai looked like he couldn't bear to watch. What gentlemanly, refined, and ascetic persona. Fake, it was all fake. Dogs were Sure Sui's true nature. Director Zhu and the others were so busy that their feet barely touched the ground, but they still took the time to visit Xiangyi. An apology would definitely be necessary. After all, if one were to look at it carefully, this was considered a mistake on the part of the production team. But I have good news to share with you, Sister E. Director Zhu smiled. Sister E, that man is a fugitive. The authorities have wanted him for a long time, but this person is very good at anti-reconnaissance. It seems that he used to be an international mercenary. This time he was forced into a corner by the carpet search and wanted to commit one last crime. He didn't expect to be caught by you. Xiangyi said, the credit doesn't belong to me alone. I have to thank Junhan and the others. We worked together to catch him. Director Zhu's impression of Xiangyi soared. She was brave enough to stand up for what was right, but she didn't claim credit for herself. She really left a good impression on him. How's Su Tumi? Xiangyi asked. Director Zhu hurriedly said, she's much better. The doctor told her to rest quietly. It's just that, ahem. Director Zhu, feel free to speak your mind. Director Zhu said embarrassedly, she has been clamoring to stay in the same ward as you. If there are no empty beds, she can sleep in the same bed as you. Su Tumi was really frightened and had already cried several times. Xiangyi said, I'm not staying in the hospital. If she wants to rest quietly, can she stay anywhere? Director Zhu said, the doctor doesn't have any special requirements. Xiangyi thought about it and said, why don't you take her to my house? There are many empty rooms in my house. Sure Sui, who was at the side, slowly typed a question mark. Chapter 458. Known facts. Frowny face. I have a girlfriend. My girlfriend has a girlfriend. Request, who can sleep in my girlfriend's bed first, me or her friend? The answer was self-evident. Sure Sui licked the roof of her mouth with the tip of her tongue, feeling slightly displeased. Hearing this, Director Zhu's eyes lit up. That's great. Sister E, why don't I go back with you? Sure Sui coughed with a sullen expression. Only then did Director Zhu realize how ambiguous his words were. He hurriedly explained, don't get me wrong, I'm just worried about the filming of this episode. If we redo the filming, Su Tumi won't be able to adjust her state of mind for a while. I don't intend to force you, but there won't be enough time for this episode. Sister Yi's words reminded me that I can divide this episode into 3 rounds of games. The third round will be a vacation and leisure time after the workout. At this moment, Director Zhu still didn't know that in a few years' time, National Mass Workout would not only become the most popular variety show in the country, but it would also become a global hit. They even bought the copyright of the show overseas and took it back to make it into a local show. However, it was not as popular as National Mass Workout. Xiangyi didn't have any objections to that. I have no objections. Director, you can make the arrangements as you see fit. I will try my best to cooperate. Director Zhu rubbed his hands and looked at Sure Sui with a chuckle. Since we're all going, you definitely won't be able to avoid being in the spotlight. Sure Sui said indifferently, I'm fine with anything. Apart from 2 Under One Roof, Sure Sui had never been on any variety show before. It wasn't that the production team of National Mass Workout had never invited him, but he had always turned them down. She didn't expect him to agree this time. Director Zhu happily went to discuss with the scriptwriter and planner. Before leaving, he didn't forget to close the door. Director Zhu suddenly reacted. A single man and a single woman in a room? Are these 2 people really a couple? Director Zhu was extremely efficient and he soon came up with a plan for the next filming. When Su Tumi heard that she could go to Xiangyi's house, she forced herself to perk up and insisted on riding in Xiangyi's ordinary car instead of her luxurious nanny van. Although Xiangyi had become the boss of Tomato Entertainment, she still used the same equipment when she went out. She didn't really care about these things. When Su Tumi got into the car, Sure Sui happened to be there too. She was confused. Senior Sure, aren't you going to take your own car? Sure Sui's expression did not change. Sister E is injured. I'm here to take care of her. Oh. Su Tumi answered foolishly. After getting into the car, she sat down beside Xiangyi. She was barefaced and her skin was in good condition. It was just that her face was very pale, without a trace of blood. Drink some hot water. Xiangyi handed him a thermos. Su Tumi unscrewed the lid of the cup and found that there were wolfberries and red dates soaked in it. She took a sip and felt that it was warm. Her eyes stung and she felt like crying again. Xiangyi asked, are you okay? Hearing her soft and gentle voice, Su Tumi couldn't hold it in any longer. Humans seem to be like that. When they're alone, they can be very strong, but when others suddenly show concern for them, They can instantly break down all their psychological defenses. Sutumi burst into tears. She cried so hard that she lost her image as tears and snot flowed out. Shui looked away and looked at the scenery outside the window. Apart from Tutu, he couldn't be bothered to comfort the other women no matter how miserably they cried. Xiangyi said, Sutumi? Sutumi sobbed uncontrollably and asked, Do you despise me? In the next second, Xiangyi patted her shoulder and gestured to her. You can lean here and cry. Chapter 459. Sutumi was stunned. The young girl in front of her had a calm gaze that seemed to be immersed in the gentle moonlight. Sutumi pounced on her neck and burst into tears. She sobbed and said, Why are you so nice? Xiangyi gently patted her back and said, Don't be afraid, I'm here. Woo Xiangyi, if you were a man, I'd definitely marry you. Xiangyi was about to coax Sutumi, but she met Shui's resentful and aggrieved gaze. It was as if she was a heartless man who had abandoned his wife and child. She cleared her throat and said, It's impossible between us. However, Sutumi burst into tears and hugged Xiangyi. I don't dare to close my eyes. Once I do, I'll see that man. Xiangyi allowed her to hug her tightly and said softly, Are you hungry? I have a lot of pigs at home, I can kill one for you. Sutumi stopped crying. Or a chicken. I can make a large plate of chicken and eat it with noodles. Sutumi burped and said, But I still want to drink chicken soup. I haven't had it in a long time. My manager has been telling me to lose weight. Xiangyi said, Kill another one then. Sutumi exclaimed, Wow, can I be good friends with you for the rest of my life? They arrived at the manor. Li Jinyu looked at Director Zhu and the others in confusion. Aren't they the big shots of variety show directors? Director Zhu greeted enthusiastically, You're Xiao Li, right? I've watched your show, it turns out that daily filming can be so interesting. You flatter me, Director Zhu, your show is the most exciting. It's a textbook example. The two shook hands and Li Jinyu felt like he was dreaming. He even secretly told Ruan Qing that he wasn't going to wash his hands for the next 2 days. Unsurprisingly, Ruan Qing rolled her eyes at him. As the deputy director, Ruan Qing had interacted with Director Zhu before. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Ruan Qing asked him about his intentions. Director Zhu said, Hey, there was an accident during the recording. In order to make up for the time, we're going to add a game called Reward Time. We want the feeling of relaxation after a workout or even a vacation. Li Jinyu instinctively said, As expected of you, Director Zhu. I can't believe he could come up with such a plan. Director Zhu smiled and said, We have to thank Sister Yi for lending us the venue. Alright then, you guys get back to work. I'll go and shoot now. The team of National Citizen was mature and efficient. A group of people methodically installed fixed cameras, set up sound recording equipment, and filmed environmental materials. Li Jinyu gradually felt that something was wrong. What? Are you here to steal my job? His eyes widened. We're both filming daily life. How can I be afraid of a big shot? I can't take it anymore, I want to die. Ruan Qing said, Finish today's work before you die. Li Jinyu said, Sister Ruan, you seem like a capitalist who exploits workers in a capitalist society. Ruan Qing smiled. Since you've said so, then let's work overtime today. Li Jinyu's wails could be heard in the courtyard. Director Zhu originally thought that Sutumi wouldn't be able to adjust for the time being, but he didn't expect her to go out with Xiangyi after resting for a while. He hurriedly got the cameraman to follow them, thinking that he could capture the romantic scene of Sutumi having afternoon tea in the glass greenhouse or feeding the pigeons by the fountain. He then saw the two of them stop in front of the chicken coop. Which one do you like? I'll kill it and make soup for you. Director Zhu was dumbfounded. Chapter 460. Sutumi's eyes lit up and she exclaimed, That one. It looks very tasty. Director Zhu was dumbfounded. Shouldn't you decline at such a time? Why the hell did you just choose the chicken? Don't you have the burden of being an actress? Xiangyi nodded and said calmly, Okay, kill it. Director Zhu was dumbfounded. Oh my god, Sister Yi, do you still remember that your hand is fractured? She killed it just like that. She's simply a domineering queen who has the power to kill. However, he also had to admit that the variety show was superb. The natural laughs were far more exciting than the ones that were carefully written and acted out. Xiangyi took Sutumi for a stroll and happily picked up 2 old hens, a lamb and a few fish in the fish basket. She released the small fish and only kept the 2 big ones. Although Xiangyi wanted to do it herself, she was still stopped. The final plan was that everyone would process the ingredients together and the recipe would be decided by Xiangyi. It had to be said that such an atmosphere of cooking together added a touch of warmth to the film. Jun Han, by Wuxia, and the others followed Shui to process the ingredients and recorded a lot of material. Unlike the others who kept a low profile, Bai Wuxia had been striking up a conversation with Shui, creating the feeling that the two of them were close friends. Seeing that he was trying to ride on Shui's coattails, Jun Han felt uncomfortable both physically and psychologically and quietly distanced himself from him. As for Su Tumi, she was placed in front of the French window. The incense burner on the table was filled with a soothing incense and there was a cup of hot and sweet milk tea beside her hand. Xiangyi placed a small furry blanket on her knees to cover her legs and sat cross-legged on the rattan chair unscrupulously. Su Tumi lamented, "I'm living like a princess here." Xiangyi said seriously, "You're the little princess." To be honest, Su Tumi had heard such flattery countless times, but she felt that Xiangyi's compliments were different from others. "You're the princess who's running away." Xiangyi smiled and said, "Your Highness, cheers." The ceramic cups made a crisp sound in the air, symbolizing the friendship between the two girls. Director Zhu did not assign any more tasks to them. It really felt like a vacation. Sipping afternoon tea in the glass greenhouse, driving a drone in Little Rabbit Farm, fishing leisurely by the pond, picking fruits in the orchard, tranquil and beautiful, unhurried and leisurely. At night, the daily live stream of Two Under One Roof began. Director Zhu still wanted to shoot some more material for dinner, so he discussed with Li Jinyu to have a joint production between the two variety shows. Although it was said that they were promoting each other, Li Jinyu knew that they were the ones who had the advantage. After all, National Citizen was much more popular than Two Under One Roof. There were all sorts of dishes for dinner. Not every artiste was good at cooking. Some of the dishes looked very dark. Some people in the live stream were unhappy. "That egg is already black, how can we eat it?" I'm speechless. What does Xiangyi mean by this? There are so many people here, is this how she entertains them? How long has it been? She's already become a pampered heiress who doesn't even bother to cook. As soon as those pop-up comments floated past, Su Tumi pushed the plate of devilish tomato scrambled eggs in front of Xiangyi and blinked expectantly. "Sister E, try it, I made it for you myself." The netizens in the live stream were speechless. Chapter 461. All of a sudden the pop-up comments were filled with laughter. The slap in the face came so quickly, it's like a tornado. "Ha ha, Su Tumi's terrible cooking is amazing. Some people are so shameless they just don't learn from their mistakes, huh? Why does Sister E have to cook? She's a guest too, not a chef, okay? Cooking is a favor, not a duty. Please don't use moral coercion." Wang Yao's presence soon livened up the atmosphere. The netizens also came to a sudden realization that there were so many people there today, not guests but for the recording of the show. "I suggest everyone raise a glass to thank Sister E for her bravery today, and thank Sister E for providing us with the venue," Wang Yao said. Su Tumi said, "Sister E is injured so she can't drink. I'll drink on her behalf." She picked up the glass and downed both hers and Xiangyi's in one gulp. Wang Yao's brain twitched and he shouted, "Get together! Get together!" The others didn't know what was going on and hence followed suit. In the live stream, "Yawa, stop your dangerous comments. Sweet sister x soft sister, sweet and soft couple, I'm going to stand for 1,000,000 seconds. I'm dying of laughter." Shui has changed from a wife-coveting maniac to a wife-coveting Wang Yao. Wang Yao was yelling enthusiastically when he suddenly felt a chill on his back. He rubbed his arms, only to realize that he had gotten goosebumps. He turned his head sluggishly, only to see that Shui was staring at him with a smirk. Wang Yao shuddered and sobered up. "Sister E, your cat is so clingy, ha." He stiffly changed the subject. Ever since Xiangyi returned, Xiao Naofu had been nestled in her arms and refused to go anywhere. It wrapped its paws around her neck coquettishly. Xiangyi knew that it was worried about her, so she had no choice but to let it be. She raised her hand and rubbed the back of Xiao Naofu's neck. Xiangyi asked softly, "Do you want to drink goat milk?" Meow, it sounded coquettish. Shui reached out. "Give it to me, I'll hold it for a while." Xiao Naofu's face was full of rejection. If it was in the past, Xiangyi would have given him a hug. But thinking of what Jun Han said, she asked, "Did you bully Xiao Naofu behind my back?" He took it for a run and even threatened to sterilize it if it didn't listen. Shui. "Oh no, this is bad." The girl's cheeks puffed up slightly. "You're not allowed to bully it in the future." Shui narrowed his eyes. His long and narrow eyes revealed a hint of danger. Even the cat was more important than him? The man exuded an oppressive aura, and the atmosphere at the table became much colder. Xiao Naofu, on the other hand, looked at Shi Sui with an expression that said, "This Hu is the most favored one." The untimely couple fans expressed that they had bumped into each other again. He's jealous, that D***Emin man is jealous. There's always someone who can deal with you. If not, then I'll change to another cat. I suspect that this cat has really gained sentience and has real evidence. Green tea axe, brother, this family can't tolerate you anymore. Did you do something wrong? Don't make things difficult for me. You'd better pack up and leave. While the netizens were having fun, they heard Bai Wuxia say shamelessly, Sister Yi was very brave today, but if I hadn't brought a rope over, that fugitive would have definitely run away. Everyone was shocked speechless by his confusing speech. Jun Han, in particular, had always been ashamed and felt that he was too cowardly for not stepping forward to help. Bai Wuxia's words had directly overturned his worldview. In an instant, everyone was dumbfounded. Bai Wuxia was still speaking with confidence. Chapter 462. My dear viewers, you guys have no idea how dangerous the situation was today. Bai Wuxia's words piqued the curiosity of the netizens who were watching the live stream. So, what exactly happened today? I seem to have seen Director Zhu's Weibo post about Sister Yi saving the damsel in distress. Who did Sister Yi save? I'm dying of curiosity, Teacher Bai, hurry up and tell me. Director Zhu's expression changed slightly and he picked up his glass. Come on, Teacher Bai, let's toast. He deliberately changed the topic, but Bai Wuxia was determined to take credit and hence clinked glasses with him perfunctorily. While Xiangyi went to make goat milk powder for Xiao Naofu, he continued to narrate, Our filming location in the afternoon is on the mountain. Who would have thought that there would be a fugitive hiding in the mountains? I heard that he has been wanted for a long time and he's a serial killer who specifically targets women. However, Xiao Su ran into him and the situation was critical at that time. Little Su had been dragged away. Fortunately, she was quick-witted and called for help loudly. As soon as I heard her voice, I immediately rushed over. I thought that since Xiao Su is a girl, it's only right for a man to protect a woman, isn't it? Besides, I'm old and Xiao Su and the others are like my children in my eyes. Of course, I have to protect them from harm. The atmosphere at the dining table was extremely strange. Jun Han was so embarrassed that he kept digging his toes into the ground. The other artistes involved in the filming looked at each other in dismay. Su Tumi was reminded of those painful memories and she subconsciously bit her lower lip while her hand that was holding the chopsticks trembled. She put down her chopsticks and gripped the hem of her clothes so tightly that her veins were popping out. They were particularly obvious on her fair skin. The negative emotions were overwhelming and pressing down on him. Su Tumi thought that she had already gotten over it, but in fact she hadn't. She was like a drowning person who Xiangyi brought to the surface of the water to take a breath of fresh air. After a short moment of salvation, she was forcefully pressed back into the water. There were more comments in the live stream. Oh my god, reality is more exciting than television dramas. Teacher Bai is so nice, if only I could have a senior like him. Hey, Su Tumi was dragged away? Then could she have already been, Seriously, Su Tumi, Teacher Bai saved her. Isn't she going to thank him for saving her life? He was even fawning over Xiangyi. Was it because he wanted to play with whoever was popular? If Teacher Bai isn't popular now, could it be that she doesn't even care about him? Bai Wuxia then used the spring and autumn style and the art of language to secretly change the concept and add fuel to the fire. He bragged about himself and even made a concluding speech. Humans are humans because we are different from cold-blooded animals. We have warmth and feelings. When you see others suffering, if you can help them, then help them. People love all living things and all living things love each other. For a moment, many netizens felt that he had a halo behind him. The comments section praised him to the skies. Teacher Bai, awesome. Well said. She's the clear stream of the entertainment industry. To be honest, Bai Wuxia's words are really good. It's not just pure kindness. In a sense, it has risen to the level of ethics, morality, and even religion. It's a whole other world. He's an idealist and an ascetic in life. Unfortunately, such an artist isn't popular. Instead, a pretty face like Xiangyi is. It's simply intolerable. Chapter 463. Some netizens expressed their dissatisfaction. Sometimes people only believed what they saw and heard. They believed the information that came in from the outside world without thinking about it. At this moment, everyone felt that Bai Wuxia's image was extremely high and mighty. As for Xiangyi's injury in order to save Su Tumi, it seemed to have become a trivial matter. Jun Han and the others were too embarrassed to expose Bai Wuxia. Su Tumi was in a terrible emotional state and couldn't even utter a single syllable. Sure Sui happened to be absent too, and little Shiji bit her pants and called her to watch them display their affection. By a freak combination of factors, Bai Wuxia actually succeeded in pretending to be cool. Even Li Jinyu was fooled into a daze. Director Zhu, who was beside him, had a sullen expression on his face. Others might not know the details, but he saw it clearly in the director's office. Bai Wuxia didn't save Su Tumi at all. He left her in the lurch right from the beginning. It would be fine if he didn't save her, but how could he have the cheek to take all the credit and even use this matter to create hype? Bai Wuxia's face was flushed with success. Little did he know that in Director Zhu's heart, he had already been blacklisted. Little Su, have some warm soup to warm your stomach. Bai Wuxia took the initiative to scoop a bowl of chicken soup and handed it to Su Tumi. Although the chicken was handled by someone else, Jianghu was the one who added the spices. She stewed it in the pot for 2 hours and the aroma was overwhelming. Before taking it out of the pot, she skimmed off the oil and sprinkled a little salt on it. A sip of the soup was enough to make one sigh in satisfaction. Previously, Jianghu scooped 2 bowls of soup for Su Tumi, who drank all of them. However, when she saw the soup that Bai Wuxia scooped for her, Su Tumi felt nauseous and somehow thought that Bai Wuxia's face was that of the fugitive. She retched and left the banquet in a disheveled state. At this moment there was an uproar in the live stream. Isn't she too rude? Teacher Bai scooped soup for her, but not only is she not grateful, she even pretended to vomit? Wow, it's no wonder she's the vase fairy's friend. Birds of a feather flock together. Annoying people play with annoying people. Awesome. Bai Wuxia pretended to smooth things over for Su Tumi and said, "Ah, little Su probably hasn't gotten used to it yet. Girls will definitely take a long time to get over such things." There was a huge wave of comments praising him for his gentleness, meticulousness, and high EQ. Junhan couldn't help but retort, "Senior, can you not mention this matter in front of big sister Tumi? Every time you mention it, you're hurting her." Bai Wuxia was a little embarrassed. He acted like a life mentor and said, "Am I not doing this for her own good?" No matter what happened, one had to face it bravely. Only by daring to face hardships can one truly walk out of the shadows. How can you just think about running away? His ability to pour out chicken soup was top-notch. How could Junhan win against him in an argument? He was rendered speechless and could only sulk. All of a sudden, a clear and indifferent voice slowly rang out, "Is there a rule that says you can't escape?" Everyone looked over in unison. Under the blazing bright lights, the girl stood there quietly with the cat in her arms. Bai Wuxia felt guilty and didn't speak as confidently as before. "Well, it makes sense. It does make sense, but there are differences between individuals. Why can't we escape? It's not shameful or ridiculous to escape. It's just a right to choose." Chapter 464. Bai Wuxia tried to use chicken soup to defeat Jianghu. "Little Xiang, if everyone thinks like you, wouldn't society be in a mess? It's like if all women are dink and don't have children, wouldn't the human race be extinct? Therefore people must be strong and not weak. When the heavens are about to give a great responsibility to a person, they must first suffer." "Sorry, Senior, I can't agree with your point of view. First of all, reproduction is not a necessary social obligation for women. Forcing it on women is a manifestation of gender discrimination. Second, people have different personalities. It's good to be extroverted, but it doesn't mean that introverted people have to be extroverted. Similarly, I'm not denying the positive meaning of being strong. I just think that there is a limit to how much people can bear. If it's painful enough, why should we be strong? What's the big deal about running away or even crying? Senior, do you think this is something worth laughing at?" Jianghu interrupted him, which made Bai Wuxia feel incredulous. He was a senior. Jianghu was just a junior. How could she interrupt him? Bai Wuxia was indeed popular when he was young. Later, his acting skills did not improve. His acting skills became routines and templates, and gradually he had fewer and fewer acting roles. However, he was still a senior. Now that he was older, he would be respectfully called a senior wherever he went. Being questioned by Jianghu, Bai Wuxia was furious and unconsciously put on airs. "What do you know? You're just a little girl. You've only studied for a few days, yet you dare to criticize others?" Jianghu did not react violently when she heard this. She said calmly, "Since Senior insists on his point of view, then I think we have nothing to say." Communication was first established on the basis that the two must be on the same channel. If it was a cross-server chat, then it would be meaningless. Jianghu had never forced others to agree with her character. In the live broadcast room, Jianghu's simple words made countless people fall silent. Yes, from childhood to adulthood, no matter what hardships they encountered, They always heard that they had to face it and overcome it. But today they heard a different kind of voice. It turned out that running away was not shameful, and being weak was not wrong. Many people in front of the screen had a flicker of light in their eyes, revealing a trace of confusion. There was spicy tutu, but something interesting happened. By Wuxia seems to have dropped out of middle school. Where did he get the guts to be so fierce to Sister E? Sister E graduated from one of the top 2 universities in the country? I'm dying of laughter. Does the internet really have no memory? Back then, Teacher Bai kept saying that he was going to win the Nobel Prize for acting. At that time he was ridiculed by the crowd. My boss is exactly the same as Bai Wuxia. You talk to him about money, he talks to you about life, you talk to him about life, and he talks to you about overtime. At the same time he also talks about how the wolf culture 996 is good for young people. Everyone wake up. This kind of person doesn't want to impart any wisdom of life to you at all. He's just using the form of preaching to satisfy his own selfish desires. The atmosphere at the table was very tense. Bai Wuxia put on airs. He thought that even if Jianghu apologized to him, he would show her who was the boss. He wanted her to know that she had to follow the rules when dealing with her seniors. Unexpectedly, Jianghu ignored him and turned her head to ask Junhan, who was beside her, "Where's Su Tumi?" Junhan was stunned. "She seems to have gone to the bathroom." "Thank you." Jianghu nodded and picked up the tissue box and small blanket at the side. "I'll go accompany her." Chapter 465. The young girl's tone was natural and casual, but it made Junhan's heart race. It wasn't the kind of heartbeat that came from love. Using his poor vocabulary to describe it, the most intuitive feeling he had was, he was moved by her gentleness. Junhan suddenly understood why so many people liked Jianghu. The so-called popularity with the audience was actually not metaphysics, but rather, it was just because that person had a unique personality and charisma. In the bathroom, Su Tumi sat on the ground and swiped the screen of her cell phone with trembling fingers. She had lived to the age of 22 and had always been the center of attention. She lived a peaceful life and was always successful in everything she did. Even her entry into the entertainment industry was smooth sailing and her fans treated her like a princess. It was the first time she had come into contact with online violence that was even more terrifying than being called a baldy. "Who told you to wear so little?" "Serves you right." "Did they really do that to you?" Tiske, it's so dirty." "Why did they pick on you instead of others?" "There must be a reason." "I really can't stand your aggrieved expression. You must be very regretful that the other party didn't succeed." "Wow, Su Tumi, you're actually still in the mood to eat. If I were you, I'd take 10 showers in the bathtub." Through the screen she had no idea who the person opposite her was, but she could feel the malice. The more she saw, the redder Su Tumi's eyes became. "Is it really my fault? Is it because I'm wearing too little, because there's something wrong with me, and because I'm not a perfect victim?" Knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. Immediately afterwards, Jianghu asked in a gentle voice, "Su Tumi, are you okay?" Whoosh, Su Tumi covered her mouth as tears rolled down her cheeks. It was so hot that the back of her hand hurt. She sobbed and said, "Don't come in, I'm just going to the bathroom." As she spoke, she pressed the switch of the faucet, after which the sound of running water filled the air. Jianghu stayed silent for a few seconds and said, "Okay, I'm not going in, I'll be right outside the door. I can chat with you or stay silent." Su Tumi heard a sound coming from behind the door. It seemed that Jianghu had sat down. A door separated the two of them. They were very close to each other. One of them spoke clumsily, while the other was gentle and didn't expose her. "I just wanted to tell you that I'm here." Hearing this, Su Tumi couldn't help but burst into tears. "Wow, you're so annoying. I hate you, Jianghu." "Then, sorry." Jianghu was a little helpless. "I just feel that when you're sad, you'll feel even worse if there's no one by your side." Because she had experienced it before, she didn't want Su Tumi to experience it again. "If you don't like it, I'll leave now. I'll leave the tissue box and blanket here. If you need them, you can open the door and take them. I won't let anyone disturb you." Before he could finish, Su Tumi opened the door and wailed miserably. "You're not allowed to leave." Jianghu said softly, "Okay, I won't leave. I don't really hate you." Su Tumi cried until the tip of her nose was red. "What I hate is the chicken soup that Bai guy mentioned. I also hate myself for crying. If you don't like his chicken soup, do you want another bowl of my chicken soup?" Jianghu asked with a smile. Su Tumi pursed her lips and cried until her shoulders shook. "He's already touched it, he's tainted the pot of chicken soup." Jianghu said, "It's okay, there's still half a pot. I'll get you a spoon, you can drink from the pot." Su Tumi suddenly felt much better. Chapter 466. In the small kitchen. The firewood in the stove was still warm. Even though so much time had passed, the chicken soup was still piping hot. Su Tumi held the large spoon that Xiangyi gave her and blew on it before gulping it down. It was so delicious that she clenched her fists tightly. Before cooking, the oily parts of the old hen were removed and freshly picked mushrooms were added to absorb the oil. Hence it wasn't greasy at all. The red dates and wolfberries not only gave the chicken soup a bright color, but also added just the right amount of sweetness. After drinking the soup, she took a sip of the mushrooms that were filled with the rich chicken soup. It was as if fireworks had exploded in her head and all her feelings were summed up in 2 words. So fragrant. It's so fragrant, it's so fragrant. Su Tumi's eyes were watery, perhaps because of the heat of the pot or because she was touched. As for the poisonous chicken soup that Bai Wuxia mentioned, she had completely forgotten about it. Bai Wuxia. Who is he? Is it important? His words are nothing. Sister Yi's chicken soup is the best. Without Xiangyi and Su Tumi around, the atmosphere at the dining table became even stranger. Bai Wuxia couldn't take it anymore and hence, he spoke loudly again, trying to belittle Xiangyi to prove that he was right. Confucius said that fathers and sons are related, monarchs and ministers are righteous, husband and wife are different, elders and children are orderly, and friends are trustworthy. It seemed that the rules of seniority had been completely forgotten by the youngsters. They don't even have the minimum respect for their elders. How ridiculous. He had always liked to quote from classics and often considered himself a cultured person because many artists in the entertainment industry had low academic qualifications. Many small-time artists didn't dare to say anything after being rebuked by him. Instead, they would feel ashamed because they were too ignorant. To his surprise, Junhan retorted, "Mencius was the one who said that, right?" Bai Wuxia was a little embarrassed and he pretended to be angry. What do you know? How dare you refute your senior just because you've read a few books? Junhan was speechless. I studied Chinese for my undergraduate degree, so I still have some knowledge about literature. Senior, do you think I can't even read? All of a sudden, the comments in the live stream were divided. I just checked. It's indeed a quote from Mencius, but Junhan seems to have no EQ by pointing it out like this. What's wrong with our Han pointing out seniors' mistakes? What era is it now? You're still abiding by those feudal dregs. While the netizens were arguing ferociously, Shi Sui returned after feeding little Shiji. Bai Wuxia tried to get him to take a side and repeated what had happened just now. At that time he had chosen the aspects that were beneficial to him. In the end he said vehemently, "Tell me, shouldn't we listen to Confucius? Am I right?" Shi Sui said indifferently, "Anyway, I know that Zhou Shuren didn't say that." Bai Wuxia. He had no idea why Shi Sui would mention this person, so he asked subconsciously, "Who is Zhou Shuren?" In an instant, the other people at the table tried their best to hold back their laughter. The live stream became a sea of joy. Haha, Shi Sui is so sarcastic. If you know how to talk, then talk more. Where can I buy your works? Is there anyone who doesn't know that Bai Wuxia has been pretending to be an intellectual all these years? Amidst the awkwardness, Junhan said excitedly, "I know how to answer this question." Using the tone of a primary school student reading aloud, he said, "Zhou Shuren, a famous writer and thinker. Lu Sun." Chapter 467. When he heard the name Lu Sun, Bai Wuxia was stunned as if he had been struck by lightning. What? The netizens in the live stream were already mocking her. Han, are you a primary school chicken? What the hell is with the tone of this poem recitation? I'm going to laugh my head off. First she said that Mencius was Confucius, and now she doesn't know that Zhou Shuren is Lu Sun. Bai Wuxia is the truly uncultured one. Let me give you a few examples. Sister E is from a top 2 university, Su Tumi is from the capital city drama academy, Junhan's school is a little worse, but it's still a top-tier university. Although Shi Sui didn't go to university, she was the top scholar of the college entrance examination back then. Bai Wuxia is the only one who didn't finish junior high school. After a round of comparison, everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream and came to a sudden realization. It turned out that Bai Wuxia was the one with the lowest educational background among the people at the table. Of course, it didn't matter if he had a low education. The tolerance of modern society was still very high. However, Bai Wuxia's usual image was that of an intellectual. This time it could be said that his image had collapsed, and it had collapsed completely. Bai Wuxia came to his senses and flew into a rage out of humiliation. Shi Sui must have done it on purpose. Otherwise, why didn't he directly mention Lu Sun, but Zhou Shuren? Wasn't this deliberately making things difficult for him? After cursing Shi Sui's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart, he pretended that nothing had happened on the surface. He laughed and said, I'm getting old. My memory is getting worse. I'm not like you young people who can remember it just by reciting it. Everyone, it would be a pity if you didn't use your face to cover the city walls. Director Zhu was even more embarrassed. He felt that he had lost too much face in front of Li Jianyu. Thinking about how Xiangyi had suffered such a serious injury in order to save someone, and now she was disgusted by this kind of person, she couldn't help but want to compensate Li Jianyu, so she said, I heard that your overseas version hasn't passed the review yet? Li Jianyu said thoughtlessly, it seems to be going through the process. There's no rush. I'm already very satisfied that it can be broadcasted locally. Director Zhu's heart was as clear as a mirror. He said he was going through the process, but who knew what step he was stuck at? There were definitely people who didn't want two under one roof to become popular abroad. He pondered for 2 seconds and said, I'll help you ask around. Maybe your overseas version will be broadcast earlier. Li Jianyu was dumbfounded. There was such a good thing? Was he some kind of European emperor? Why did it not only fall from the sky but also into his mouth every time? In order to cover up his previous mistakes, Wuxia kept feeding him chicken soup more frequently. He was like a walking life mentor, spreading the truth wherever he went. However, there was a saying in this world, the more you talk, the more mistakes you make. If it was a recorded broadcast, then there was still a chance for post-production editing to remedy the situation. Unfortunately, today was a joint event between National Citizen and Two Under One Roof that was being broadcasted live. He originally had a group of hipster and bourgeois fans who had specially come to watch the live broadcast to support him. But when they heard Wuxia's chicken soup, that was full of flaws, they were really confused. Does Wuxia have real skills? Why does it sound so weird? Shi Sui didn't say anything, but she raised her eyebrows slightly when he mentioned Xiangyi. Why is there a saying in ancient times that men are in charge of external affairs and women are in charge of internal affairs? Of course it makes sense. I can't stand Xiangyi's flamboyant personality. She's a girl after all. She should just stay at home and do the laundry and cook. Who would like her to show up in public like a man? Chapter 468. In the live stream, what kind of confusing statement is this? Why does Wuxia look like he's been bewitched? How dare he sow discord in front of the wife-protecting demon? Welcome to the live broadcast. The more Wuxia spoke, the more enthusiastic he became. During the recording of the show, she's so keen on being in the limelight. She loves to show off. And everything going too far is as bad as falling short. Besides, she has no respect for her elders and doesn't take her seniors seriously. In the next second, Shi Sui said indifferently, in Sister Yi's eyes, there's the sea of stars, the tranquility of life, flowers, grass, chickens, ducks, pigs and geese, but there's no trash. Whoosh! Wuxia's expression froze, and then he looked at Shi Sui as if he had seen a ghost. The others at the dining table were speechless. Jun Han clenched his fists in excitement. As expected of Shi Sui, he's awesome. Wuxia gritted his teeth. Shi Sui, what do you mean? Nothing. Shi Sui smiled faintly. Her temperament was gentle, and her tone could even be considered gentle, but her eyes were indifferent. I just feel that Sister Yi is such a good girl, yet she's being criticized by some people who don't know what she is. I just feel that, it's ridiculous and ridiculous. Wuxia was about to explode in anger. After all, he had been popular before. Yet, Shi Sui actually said that he was someone who doesn't know what kind of person he is. This was simply worse than being slapped in public. In the director's office, Li Jianyu was dumbfounded, and so was Director Zhu next to him. No one expected Shi Sui to rebuke someone. Ruan Qing, on the other hand, crossed her arms and seemed to be deep in thought. Is she defending her sovereignty? All along, Shi Sui and Xiangyi's relationship during the live stream had always been indifferent. The two of them didn't communicate much, but they gave off a comfortable vibe. However, things were different today. Shi Sui was showing his possessiveness towards Xiangyi. Ruan Qing curled her lips and clicked on Untimely Fashion's chat. She then slowly posted on Weibo. I'm serious. In the live stream, the bullet screen had already exploded. There were so many people's faces could not be seen clearly. Ashuringi is so strong. Voice breaking. Shi Sui doesn't care about anything else, but when you mention Sister Yi, she immediately switches into battle mode. Love. Wuxia is really something. Of all people, he just had to go against Sister Yi. Isn't he just asking for trouble? Who said no one loves Sister E? Where's spicy tutu? Let me see your hands. It's the new year, it's the new year. Everyone, quickly think of a good location for the untimely wedding. How's the beach? The number of online viewers of Two Under One Roof had also reached an astonishing number, attracting the jealousy of countless peers. Recently, there had been a lot of people following the trend and doing live broadcast variety shows. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could only imitate and not surpass it. Nowadays, there were only a handful of people who could surpass 1 million online viewers. On the other hand, Two Under One Roof easily made millions of yuan. Tonight, it had soared to more than 9 million viewers. This figure made many people in the entertainment industry fall into deep thought. Why is only Two Under One Roof so popular? Where is its magic? Seeing that Wuxia was about to flip the table, the doorbell of the living room suddenly rang. In order to ease the tense atmosphere, another senior took the initiative to help. Junhan, go run an errand and see who's here. Seeing that Wuxia had been defeated, Junhan was in a good mood as he happily went to open the door. The first thing he saw was a bright and eye-catching silk banner. Chapter 469. Junhan was originally standing in a sloppy manner, but when he saw the row of righteous police officers outside the door, he hurriedly straightened his back. All of a sudden, everyone in the live stream was complaining, "He looks like me when I stood in a military stance during military training." Junhan asked nervously, "Police uncle, may I ask what you're doing?" "You don't have to call me uncle," Junhan asked straightforwardly. "Police uncle?" "You better call me uncle. By the way, is Miss Xiangyi here? Are we here to give her a silk banner?" "Ha!" Junhan was stunned for a moment before he hurriedly said, Yes, I'll go call Sister E over right now." He dashed to the small kitchen and shouted as he ran, Sister E! Sister E! There's a silk banner for you." At this moment, Junhan still didn't know that because of this video, he would be made into a magical emoji pack. From then on, he would occupy half of the ghostly beast section and even have a place in the emoji world. Meanwhile, Wuxia was dumbfounded. The silk banner in the police officer's hand can't be for Xiangyi, right? Xiangyi washed her hands and came over. She had already dealt with the police officer who had given her the silk banner the last time, so she asked him if he had eaten dinner. The other party swallowed his saliva and then said seriously, No, Miss Xiangyi, thank you for your great contribution in solving the case of a major fugitive. This is a silk banner and a reward for you." He unfolded the silk banner and there were 8 words written on it: frowny face, courageous and righteous, a role model for young people. There was also a brand new check. After the cameraman got the other party's permission, he zoomed in and took a close-up. The amount was written on it, 200,000 yuan. The live stream was instantly shocked. "I know about courageous and righteous acts, but what's with the major fugitive? This is the second time Sister E has received a silk banner, right? The police officer also gave one to Sister E during Mingxi Boys High School last time. Damn, a reward of 200,000 yuan is usually given to the most vicious criminals. What did this little vase do to earn so much money? Don't think too much, she must have provided some clues or something. With her small body, it's good enough that she doesn't cry when she sees a criminal." Many people thought that Xiangyi might have seen the criminal and reported the case, but in the next second she was slapped in the face. "Madam Xiangyi, on behalf of the South City Police, I would like to express my gratitude and respect to you. Thank you for seeing injustice and lending a helping hand to capture the fugitive. All of them. Stand at attention and salute." Several policemen straightened their bodies in unison and saluted Xiangyi with a standard salute. No one knew better than them that if it weren't for Xiangyi, the fugitive might have hurt Su Tumi or others, or he might have escaped and continued to commit crimes, leaving behind victims and broken families. However, Xiangyi had ended all of this. Director Zhu cooperated with the investigation and sent a copy of the video to the officials. The group of men fell silent as they watched Xiangyi fight with the other party. Her face was red from holding back her breath. As for Wuxia, who stood by and watched them die, a few policemen glanced at Wuxia. Although they didn't say anything, the disdain in their eyes was real. Xiangyi bowed slightly and said in a humble and gentle manner, "Thank you. However, this isn't my credit alone. It's the result of the concerted efforts of Jun Han and the staff of National Citizen." Someone in the live stream raised a question. "Hey, why didn't Sister E mention Wuxia? Didn't he boast that he contributed the most?" Chapter 470. Haha, that's right. Weren't you bragging to the heavens just now? Why are you so quiet now? I'm laughing my head off. Look carefully behind, Bai Wuxia is hiding from the camera. He must be feeling guilty. Bai Wuxia was burning with anxiety when he saw that the banner had been awarded to Jianghu. Wasn't this equivalent to slapping him in the face in front of millions of viewers? Bai Wuxia wanted to use the bathroom to get away with it, but for some reason a cameraman happened to block his way. Jianghu's personal cameraman, old Zhang, smiled at him meaningfully. Humph, you stole Sister Yi's credit and now you want to run away? Dream on. Bai Wuxia was speechless. Damn it, is this person crazy? He was already depressed enough. Not far away, Jun Han's applause could be heard. Good, good, good. Sister Yi is the best. Sister Yi is the best. He could be considered a primary school student. The others at the dining table knew what was going on and also applauded. For a moment, the scene was like a commendation ceremony where students went on stage to receive awards. Bai Wuxia was caught in the middle like an outlier. He had an awkward expression and didn't know whether to applaud or not. There was a lot of mocking laughter in the live stream, but there were also a few die-hard fans of Bai Wuxia who tried to defend him. Jianghu is stealing Teacher Bai's credit and honor, right? I'm speechless, she's getting all the limelight. If it weren't for Teacher Bai, would the vase fairy have gotten this banner? Teacher Bai looks so pitiful. He's already so old, yet he's still being isolated. Could it be that a certain female celebrity is leading a small team to ostracize Teacher Bai? Of course, these brainless comments were quickly rebutted by the spicy Tutu fans. Sorry, our Sister E is just that outstanding. You're the only one who can, who's awesome, who knows the truth, okay? Some people are pitiful and deserve sympathy, but Bai Wuxia brought this on himself, okay? Why didn't he use his eyes and brain? In reality, the policeman said a few more words of encouragement to Jianghu before leaving. Jun Han reacted quickly and took the silk banner from Jianghu. Sister E, your hand is injured. Let me take it for you. Let's interview you. How does it feel to hold a silk banner for the first time? Shi Sui carelessly tempted Xiao Naofu with a piece of dried fish. She smiled lazily and said, this isn't the first time our Sister E has held a silk banner, everyone. Why do I feel like you're even prouder than Sister E? Jianghu pursed her lips, feeling a little embarrassed. It's really not my work alone. It's the result of everyone's hard work. Director Zhu, please help me distribute the money. Everyone has worked hard. Everyone expressed that the money was meant for Jianghu and they couldn't accept it. At this moment, Bai Wuxia suddenly appeared with a magnanimous look. Since you've said so, then I'll be the agent and divide the money. I don't want it. I'll give you more. Those who didn't know better would think that he was a noble person. Even the people who were criticizing Bai Wuxia hesitated and stopped typing. He doesn't seem that annoying after all? Bai Wuxia was very proud of himself. He felt that his ability to react on the spot was too brilliant. Look, didn't I just avert the danger and get a good impression of myself? Young people are still too inexperienced to fight with me. However, in the next moment, the girl's calm and indifferent voice sounded. Senior, you're worrying too much. I never intended to give you this money. Chapter 471. Jianghu's voice fell. Apart from Shi Sui, everyone else's eyes widened in shock. Isn't Sister E a soft girl? How come she's even tougher than Shi Sui? A huge controversy broke out in the live stream. Some people felt that Jianghu was too rude, while others felt that there must be an inside story. More people sent links to the live stream of Two Under One Roof to invite their friends over. Hurry, come and watch the drama. The number of viewers in the live stream increased greatly, making countless peers in the industry cry. There must be a script, right? Otherwise, how can it be so exciting? First, Shi Sui insulted me, then Sister E confronted me head-on. Even a million screenwriters wouldn't dare to write such a script. Bai Wuxia's face instantly turned as black as the bottom of a pot. First, Shi Sui didn't know what was good for her, then Jianghu didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Both of them didn't give me any face. What's the difference between this and slapping me in the face? Bai Wuxia was so angry that he laughed, looking like a loyal minister who had been framed. He was indignant and self-deprecating. I originally had good intentions, but I didn't expect that my good intentions would turn into a bad thing. So, forget it, how can an old man like me join in the fun of you young people? He made it sound like he was really being ostracized and isolated. His acting skills were superb. Needless to say, this scene was quite infectious. Some netizens were emotionally swayed by his words, but then they heard Jianghu ask in confusion. Senior, are you illiterate? Jianni Yong Wei means to fight against illegal acts and protect others. Senior, you didn't do anything, so you're not entitled to this money in the first place, right? The girl wasn't arguing but was seriously questioning. Even her tone was as if she was discussing an academic issue. Everyone was speechless. Sister E is awesome. She spoke their minds. And she hit the nail on the head. Especially Jun Han, who secretly gave Xiangyi a thumbs up with his hands hanging by his side. As expected of Sister E. Bai Wuxia, on the other hand, felt as if he had been punched in the face and almost fainted. He had been in the entertainment industry for so many years and was used to all kinds of plastic flowers on the surface, beating around the bush, making moves behind people's backs and fighting in the dark. But he had never seen anyone openly fall out with him. Xiangyi's words and Bai Wuxia's reaction caused an uproar in the live broadcast room. F***ck, so Xiangyi means that Bai Wuxia has been standing by and watching? This is too disgusting. She clearly didn't leave, but she still wants to steal the credit. You're really disrespectful. He's really insulting the stage name Bai Wuxia. Flawless white jade, a modest gentleman, was he worthy? He's not worthy. Bai Wuxia's fans were even more devastated. They tried their best to protect Bai Wuxia, but in the end they found out that Bai Wuxia was a coward. Who could bear this? You can choose not to save them. Although it's not morally justifiable, there's no legal obligation to ask for help. But you didn't save him, but you still boasted that you saved him. That's disgusting. Bai Wuxia was enraged to the extreme. You're slandering me. There are so many pairs of eyes watching. Do you think I'm the kind of person who would leave someone in the lurch? There was dead silence. Bai Wuxia panicked a little and looked at Jun Han first. Little Jun. Jun Han pretended to be crazy and said, ah. Bai Wuxia looked at another old actor, hoping that the other party would speak up for him on account of their many years of friendship. Old Gao said, what did you say? I can't hear you clearly. I'm old, my hearing is bad. Chapter 472. No matter who Bai Wuxia looked at for help, no one spoke up for him. Bai Wuxia was really flustered and scared this time. The netizens also came to their senses. In a sense, not expressing their stance was also a way of expressing their stance. I've seen people who are unpopular, but I've never seen someone so unpopular. Everyone kicks a man who's down. Bai Wuxia is a good example of that saying. In other words, Bai Wuxia really didn't do anything, and he might even have left her in the lurch. That's why everyone is angry. The public opinion was one-sided, and apart from Bai Wuxia, there were only a few fans who were still clamoring. Gossip is a fearful thing, and 3 people make a tiger out of it. Public opinion can melt metal, and accumulation can destroy bones. Don't you guys have a conscience for treating an old artist like this? Who knows if these people are being threatened? It's ridiculous that there's no smoke without fire. If you have the guts, show me the evidence. I'm a skeptic and I don't believe in witnesses. I only believe in physical evidence. The planner of National Citizen happened to see this comment and showed it to Director Zhu. Director Zhu was speechless for a while. After pondering for a moment, he whispered a few words to Li Jianyu. Li Jianyu was particularly terrified after hearing this. That's not very nice, Director Zhu. I'm not worthy. There are some things that I can't say, so you can only lead the way. Director Zhu smiled bitterly. Do you want to see Sister E get criticized? Li Jianyu was silent. After spending so much time together, he had long been conquered by Sister Yi's culinary skills, her personality and charm. She was such a gentle and determined girl. If it weren't for him, she might not have been involved in the whirlpool of public opinion. Although he called Xiangyi Sister E, he really treated Xiangyi as his younger sister. Sister E deserved to be pampered and not be wronged at all. Li Jianyu, okay, I'll go. While the table was in a deadlock, Li Jianyu's voice suddenly rang out with a megaphone. Dear viewers, please keep your eyes peeled for National Mass Workout on Saturday at 8 p.m. This episode will feature the newly crowned Best Actress Su Tumi, the powerful idol Jun Han and other celebrities, as well as our sister E and Shi Sui. Of course, I'll also have 3 seconds of HD 4K footage. Welcome to the show. While the guests and audience were dumbfounded, he even coughed and said, Director Zhu, it's time to settle the advertising fees. In an instant, the netizens began to mock him. Why are you calling him Director Zhu? Call him Daddy. Son, why are your advertisements always so unexpected? Wow, there's actually a 3-second scene. Our Yuzi's online debut must be a flowery one. The audience didn't understand the deeper meaning, but Bai Wuxia understood instantly. Director Zhu didn't seem to say anything, but he was actually expressing his stance through Li Jianyu. Video. The production team must have a video. Bai Wuxia was scared, angry, hateful, and regretful. His emotions reached a critical point and he couldn't help venting all of them to Xiangyi. Get lost. Get lost. What right does an artist like you have to participate in the recording? If it weren't for Xiangyi, would I have turned a blind eye to her plight? If it weren't for Xiangyi, would I have ended up like a clown? Bai Wuxia's facial features were distorted, and his originally elegant and handsome face became extremely menacing. Everyone was watching. The slender and fair girl glanced at him indifferently and said calmly, I don't mean to offend you. I'm just reminding you that this is my home. Chapter 473. This is my home. Those words were like a curse that kept repeating in Bai Wuxia's mind. He had completely lost control of his expression, as if he had heard something extremely terrifying. Bai Wuxia had never watched Two Under One Roof, nor had he heard the conversation between Xiangyi and Director Zhu. Hence, he had no idea that the manor belonged to Xiangyi's family. At this moment, his pupils constricted and he almost vomited blood. Such a large manor actually belongs to Xiangyi's family? Bai Wuxia choked for a long time before saying, Okay, I'll leave then. I'll leave, alright? He thought that someone would more or less try to persuade him to stay. However, something awkward happened. Be it the veteran actors, Jun Han, or Director Zhu, no one in the production team of National Citizen tried to persuade him to stay. That was not the worst. The one who dealt the most critical blow came from Shi Sui. The man was elegant and gentle. Sorry for the inconvenience. Take care, I won't see you out. Bai Wuxia was speechless. He was so angry that his head hurt. He didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt a metallic taste in his throat. The netizens also flooded the livestream with comments. Get lost, I won't see you out. I'm dying of laughter. He actually told Sister Yi to get lost. What a big face. Bai Wuxia has been taking advantage of his seniority for a long time. Finally, someone can teach him a lesson. I'm so happy. In the vast night sky, Bai Wuxia left in a sorry state. Old Zhang was so evil that he didn't even give him a single screenshot. The consequence of offending the cameraman was that he wouldn't get a single screenshot. For an artist like Bai Wuxia, having no popularity was worse than any form of punishment. Bai Wuxia got into the nanny van, thinking that he had already been humiliated enough. To his surprise, when he turned on his phone, he saw that several entertainment news apps were promoting his scandals. An old actor with good morals and skills? No, he's weak and incompetent. What a coward. Bai Wuxia's car crash. Click on the link below to watch the face-slapping video. Who would have thought that the former Bai Wuxia would turn a blind eye to his plight? Bai Wuxia was so angry that his blood pressure rose. He was furious. How can these reporters write nonsense? Tell them to delete the manuscript. Tell Amen if they don't delete it, I'll sue them. This was creating something out of nothing. It's just a rumor. The assistant trembled. Teacher Bai, something happened. Auntie Jean was Bai Wuxia's loyal fan since his debut. She had also changed from being called Xiao Jean to Auntie Jean. When she found out that Bai Wuxia was participating in the live broadcast, she had been watching. In Auntie Jean's eyes, Bai Wuxia had his own filter. He symbolized the beauty of her youthful days of simply liking someone. Therefore, no matter how many loopholes Bai Wuxia made, she could always find a reason to defend herself. When she saw some people saying that there was no evidence to prove that Bai Wuxia did not save her, she suddenly had an idea and thought that she had thought of a wonderful idea. Perhaps, the situation at that time had been filmed by the production team of National Citizen. With the mentality of giving it a try, she relied on her strong ability to find a hacker and get the video of that time. Unexpectedly, after the hacker got the video, the more he looked at Bai Wuxia, the more he disliked him. He even directly exposed the video of Bai Wuxia not saving him. As a result, the video went viral on the internet. This time there was both a witness and a physical evidence. The last bit of face that Director Zhu wanted to give Bai Wuxia was completely torn down by this enthusiastic hacker. When Bai Wuxia heard this news, his eyes rolled back and he fainted on the spot. Chapter 474. Mr. Bai, wake up. The assistant was frightened and hurriedly called the emergency number. By the time Bai Wuxia woke up again, the public opinion on the internet had already gone out of control. The video went viral on the internet and every word that Bai Wuxia said in it made people feel uncomfortable both physically and psychologically. Let's stand further away. If Xiangyi can't take it, we'll be in trouble. Hey, don't run towards us. The bad guys were targeting the two of them in the first place. Aren't they afraid of implicating us? The netizens were furious. Although they usually like to bicker and argue on the internet, they were still very clear-headed when it came to major issues. Daily androphobia square root? Is he a man? He looks like a human, but is he speaking like a human? Is he even human? I'm so disgusted by Wuxia that I'm about to throw up my dinner from last night. You're a man, how can you have the cheek to watch Sister E charge forward? Forget it if you retreat, but how dare you make sarcastic remarks? Get lost. Wuxia desperately spent money to remove the trending topic, but the comments still appeared one after another, and there was no end to the videos and posts. The public opinion formed an overwhelming wave that quickly slapped Wuxia so hard that he couldn't make a comeback. In the living room, Su Tumi sat cross-legged on the ground and stroked Xiao Naofu with one hand and little Shiji with the other. She was a winner in life. Her belly was round because of the chicken soup, and under the dual healing of food and adorable pets, she was in a much better state. Xiangyi came over with pajamas and a towel. The pajamas were made by my second brother, I haven't worn them yet. The towel is also new, it's been washed and dried. Su Tumi grabbed it and smelled the faint floral fragrance on the clothes. Are you afraid of the dark? Do you want me to get you a night light? Xiangyi asked. Then she felt someone tugging at the hem of her clothes. Su Tumi blinked and said coquettishly, Sister E, can I sleep with you? Xiangyi said, it's not impossible. Oh yeah, that's good. I'll take a shower now. The livestream room was instantly filled with demons. This sweet and soft CP is going to explode. Jianghu, you there? E, do you still remember me by the Daming Lake? Oh, our Sister Yi's harem has grown stronger again. Bestow a perfume pouch, leave a plaque, and be conferred the title of Imperial Concubine. Look closely at the look in Shui's eyes. I'm laughing so hard that my head is about to fall off. Someone hold it for me. Everyone noticed Shui's expression and found that it was indeed very subtle. For a moment the live stream was filled with laughter. There were also untimely CP fans who stubbornly said, so what if you want a harem but our Shui is the real one? The live broadcast ended. Director Zhu's material was almost done. Although Xiangyi said that they could stay the night, he still left with the crew. Sister Yi was such a good person. How could she bear to cause trouble for her? Li Jinyu and Ruan Qing sent him off. Director Zhu, don't forget about my 3-second shot. Director Zhu laughed and said, of course. Ruan Qing expressed her gratitude to him. Thank you for being willing to collaborate with us, Director Zhu, and thank you for helping us inform the overseas version of the review. This is just a token of our appreciation, please accept it. Director Zhu was about to decline, but he heard Li Jinyu say, this is the salted fish and smoked bacon that Sister E made, as well as the spicy rabbit head and sauced beef from Little Rabbit Farm. Who can resist this? Chapter 475. How can I accept that? Although he was more polite than anyone else, Director Zhu picked up the gifts faster than anyone else. With a radiant smile on his face, he exclaimed, Sister E, you're so nimble. The other staff members of National Citizen were dumbfounded. Director, I thought you didn't accept any gifts. Why are you accepting them today? Have some backbone. But then again, these are really delicious. Slurp. Su Tumi went to take a shower, leaving the two of them alone in the living room. Only then did Xiangyi realize that she seemed to have a boyfriend today. The man was sitting by the French window, casually flipping through an English novel. His gold-rimmed glasses were placed on the bridge of his tall nose, and his upturned peach blossom eyes were hidden behind the lenses. He was clearly keeping a low profile, but he was so dazzling that he couldn't be ignored. Feeling a little guilty, she poured a glass of water and scurried towards him. Boyfriend, have some water. Shui looked up with an ambiguous gaze. You finally remembered that I'm your boyfriend? Xiangyi looked at him eagerly. I'm sorry, I'm not used to it yet. Looking into his starry doe eyes, Shui felt extremely helpless. What should I do? I haven't even coaxed him and he's already not angry anymore. He closed the book and under Xiangyi's puzzled gaze, he hugged her waist, carried her to the small coffee table and sat down. Xiangyi began to stutter. Get used to my existence, girlfriend. The man's voice was deep and alluring as he buried his head in her fair neck and rubbed it twice. Her heart was beating wildly. Xiangyi thought, is this what it feels like to be in a relationship? Seems. I'm happier than I imagined. However, when she thought of Shui's misogyny, she was a little worried. Don't you hate girls very much? Don't you feel uncomfortable? Shui chuckled softly. You're different from others. A long time ago he discovered that he didn't resist touching Xiangyi, but at that time she was still too young and he wasn't a beast. Hence he didn't think that they would be together. Even now he still wasn't sure if it was true. Xiangyi tentatively wrapped her arms around his waist. How about this? Shi Sui looked into her eyes. No. Xiangyi was a little excited and nervous at the same time. She moved her hand up and placed it on Shi Sui's shoulder before hugging his neck. It was a very intimate gesture. What about this? Shi Sui's Adam's apple bobbed. The two contradictory qualities of abstinence and sexiness were mixed together to create a seductive aura. His voice was hoarse. Sister E, do the words you said in the hospital still count? Xiangyi asked. Which one? She thought for a while. The kiss one? Shi Sui's eyes darkened. Yes. The tips of Xiangyi's ears were red. Her voice was soft, but it was childish and fierce. Boyfriend boy should be more reserved. Shi Sui thought. Does this girl have some misunderstanding about me? Am I not reserved enough? However, he didn't want to push Xiangyi too hard. Some things were better to let nature take its course. Suddenly. Chirp. The girl left a light and soft mark on his cheek. Shi Sui was stunned. Xiangyi pretended to be calm. Okay. Since you're my boyfriend, I'll satisfy your small request. Before she finished speaking, a tall figure suddenly shrouded her. A strong and dangerous aura filled the air. Sorry, sister. I can't be reserved. Chapter 476. After he deliberately lowered his voice, her legs turned to jelly. Xiangyi felt that the little deer in her heart was about to faint. There are cameras. There were fixed cameras installed in the living room. They're all turned off. What if someone sees us? No one's watching. Shi Sui rubbed her ears and watched as her milky white skin instantly turned red. No one knows, huh? Xiangyi expressed assent, feeling dizzy and muddle-headed as if she was soaking in a honey pot. Even the bubbles that came out were honey-colored. The ambiguous atmosphere was fermenting uncontrollably. Even the air had become sticky. The atmosphere was just right, but it was interrupted by Xiao Naofu's cries. Meow. Meow meow. Xiangyi snapped out of her daze and turned her head, only to find that Xiao Naofu had jumped onto the coffee table and was looking at her with a look of disbelief. Stupid woman, you're actually in a relationship with this dog of a man? This isn't real. No. Xiangyi's face suddenly burned. Ahem, Xiao Naofu, as you can see, we're dating. Afraid that Xiao Naofu wouldn't understand, she deliberately explained, he's my boyfriend. Like a bolt out of the blue, Xiao Naofu took 2 steps back and sat on the ground, as if it couldn't bear the shocking blow. Meow. The little kitten's cries were filled with grief and indignation. Little Shiji immediately scurried over and circled around the coffee table foolishly. Shi Sui was speechless. His temples throbbed a few times and he suppressed the urge to beat the kitten. As if declaring his sovereignty, he tightened his grip on the little girl's slender waist. Sister E. There was a trace of enchantment in the man's pleasant voice. Help me take off my glasses. Xiangyi, who was still thinking about what delicious food to make to coax Xiao Naofu, helped him take off his glasses in a daze. In an instant. It was like a scene in a movie where light and shadow intertwined, creating an ambiguous tone. In the quiet room, all the soft sounds were extremely clear. From lingering affection to almost crushing possessiveness. It was passionate and charming. Xiao Naofu's furious roars and little Shiji's puzzled barks could also be heard. When everything was over, Xiangyi almost lost her balance. Fortunately, Shi Sui caught her in time. His slightly calloused fingertips gently wiped away the water droplets on the girl's lips. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Just a little? Xiangyi's face was as red as a tomato. She curled her toes and didn't know where to put her hands. Xiao Naofu screamed angrily and jumped over to scratch Shi Sui. A certain movie king who was satisfied naturally let it scratch him. Very quickly, a few scratches appeared on his muscular forearm. The man immediately complained, Sister E, it hurt when it hit me. You deserve it. Despite her words, Xiangyi still picked up Xiao Naofu and coaxed softly, Don't hit him, he'll hurt. Xiao Naofu, meow meow meow. Don't I feel heartache? Shi Sui leaned over and asked innocently, Sister E kissed me. Why don't I kiss you instead? It'll be an indirect kiss. Xiao Naofu kicked its short legs in the air. Meow meow meow. This sentence is too meow meow language, it can't be translated. Xiangyi covered Xiao Naofu's ears and said shyly, Don't say such things in front of it. Kittens can't listen to such impure things. Shi Sui chuckled. She thought to herself, not only does he dare to say it, he also dares to do it in the future. Chapter 477. Xiangyi had no way of knowing what the man in front of her was thinking. When she saw Shi Sui nod, she felt relieved. Little did she know that he only promised not to say or do anything in front of Xiao Naofu. However, he didn't promise not to do it behind Xiao Naofu's back. As for Xiao Naofu, it cried loudly like a child who had lost its beloved toy. Will my stupid woman abandon me after having a dog-like man? The more Xiao Naofu thought about it, the sadder it got as it sobbed. Stop crying, stop crying. Xiangyi panicked and said, shall I get you some canned food? She jumped off the coffee table and went to Xiao Naofu's exclusive snack cabinet to get some food for it. Shi Sui slowly put on his glasses and regained his gentlemanly demeanor. However, as soon as he spoke, he began to whine. Little fatty, you look so ugly when you cry. Xiao Naofu was speechless. Damn it, what did you say? I'm fat? I'm ugly? Wah. Xiao Naofu cried even harder. Little Shiji bit Shi Sui's trouser leg and barked a few times. Woof woof. Woof woof woof. Tisk, you're quite protective of it, Shi Sui lamented. Xiangyi hurried back and coaxed Xiao Naofu for a long time before it finally ate the canned food while sobbing. At night, he even insisted on sticking to Xiangyi to sleep together. Fortunately, Su Tumi didn't mind the cat on the bed either. Hence, the two girls shared a bed with the cat. Little Shiji had nowhere to go and soon forgot about Shi Sui bullying Xiao Naofu. It ran to his bed and snuggled up to sleep. Shi Sui was speechless. Even Xiao Naofu can sleep with Sister Yi. Meanwhile, he only had the dog to accompany him. It was very annoying. Su Tumi stayed in the manor for a few days and planted flowers and vegetables with Xiangyi every day. From time to time, she would go to Little Rabbit Farm to experience the joy of high-tech farming. When her manager, Sister Yen, came to pick her up, she refused to leave. I'm not leaving. I want to stay at Sister Yi's house. Sister Yen was speechless. Huahua, do you still remember that you are an actress? She just won the Best Actress award. I'm not listening. It's time for me to go feed the pigs. In the end, Sister Yen had no choice but to get the bodyguards to hold Su Tumi up and force her into the nanny van. Su Tumi looked out of the car window and burst into tears. Sister Yi, I can't bear to part with you. Woo-woo, you should fatten Little Black up a bit. It's too skinny, it'll be too dry to eat. Xiangyi was a little sad because of her, but when she heard this, she couldn't help but laugh. I'll remember that. This scene was completely broadcasted live. The netizens were laughing like crazy. What kind of immortal treasure is this girl? Haha, Su Tumi is crying while thinking about food. That's so funny. Woo-woo, is the sweet and soft CP going to be broken up like this? No, I really like this pair. All of a sudden, an extended luxury car suddenly stopped beside Su Tumi's car. The car door opened automatically, and a pair of long, slender legs appeared in front of everyone's eyes. He was wearing a pair of sneakers, jeans, and a white hoodie. He was dressed in a simple and clean outfit, but he exuded an artistic and fashionable aura. The cameraman glanced over in confusion, allowing the netizens to see the person's face clearly. It was a pale and weak young man with an angelic face. When the wind blew, he covered his face with his hand and coughed twice. His fingers were fair and slender with well-defined joints. A red rope was wrapped around his wrist, which was particularly eye-catching. Chapter 478. The comments section of the live stream immediately exploded. Is this little angel a guest? Sickly brother, I can do it. Su Tumi, hurry up and leave, I can be a new couple. Su Tumi? Sister Yi and I are a sweet couple. Are we not worthy of a name so soon? Ah, it's Little Nocturne. She's the main streamer of Xingqian Livestream's music section. She's super impressive with the piano. Ling Yi stared at Xiangyi for a few seconds from afar, and his long, curly eyelashes fluttered like the wings of a butterfly. Shi Sui asked softly, do you know him? Xiangyi shook her head and said, no, I don't. A melodious northern accent sounded. Hey, are you all out to welcome me? You guys are being too polite. Only then did everyone notice that there was a plump, middle-aged man standing on the other side of the car door with a smile. They actually invited the famous folk musician, Tianji. Tianji had appeared on the Spring Festival Gala several times and could be considered a household name. The Swana was also well known in the folk music circle. In the past 2 years he would occasionally participate in variety shows too. As long as he was on the show, there would definitely be no shortage of jokes. However, such an existence had actually been neglected for a long time. The reason was none other than that Ling Ye's face was too eye-catching. Tianji was today's guest. Shi Sui, Xiangyi, and the others stepped forward to greet him. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Tianji introduced, this is my little disciple Ling Yi. The netizens in front of the screen were all stunned. A big shot like Tianji wouldn't easily take in disciples. If he did, it would be like passing down the teachings of a master in Wuxia novels. The youngest disciple would often be the last disciple. Everyone looked at Tianji, who had a small belly, and then at the pale and coughing Ling Yi. They were all confused. A pop-up comment expressed everyone's thoughts. Teacher Tian, with all due respect, the two of you have completely different styles. Everyone imagined the little angel playing the Swana with Tianji with his cheeks puffed up. No matter how angelic he was, he couldn't resist the perverted Swana. Tianji pretended to be angry. What's with your expressions? Apart from the Swana, I can play the flute and guzheng a little. It was no exaggeration to say that Tianji was an all-rounder in music. Ling Yi took the initiative to introduce himself. I learned the zither from my master when I was 3 years old. Please give me some pointers. So that was the case. With this explanation, whether it was the staff at the scene or the audience in front of the screen, they were all secretly relieved. No one expected Ling Ye's next sentence to cause an uproar. Sister, do you still remember me? The young man's eyes were a clear amber color and his eyes were round. He stared at Xiangyi without blinking. Everyone's gaze turned towards Xiangyi in unison. The girl looked confused. Have we met before? Ling Yi lowered his long eyelashes and pursed his thin lips tightly. As expected. Big sister doesn't remember me. For a moment, Xiangyi felt that many of the female staff members were looking at her as if she was a scumbag who had abandoned her husband and child. I'm sorry, she said. Big sis didn't do anything wrong. You don't have to apologize, Ling Yi said as he handed over a gift box. This is my gift to Big Sis. Xiangyi opened it. Inside was a still and quaint bamboo flute. It was very small and suitable for girls. Tianji didn't forget to speak up for his little disciple. From cutting, painting, drilling, tuning, winding, and engraving, Ling Yi did everything himself. Ling Yi's eyes were filled with tears. He was nervous and expectant. Big sis, can you accept it? Chapter 479. Xiangyi was always much more tolerant of good-looking children. Besides, they were so polite too. Xiangyi said, I won't stand on ceremony then. Thank you for the flute, it's very beautiful. Seeing that she accepted it, the corners of Ling Ye's mouth curled up slightly, making his pale face look livelier. Su Tumi's nanny van drove away and everyone walked towards the living room. Halfway there, Shi Sui raised her eyebrows and asked ambiguously, You don't know him? Xiangyi said innocently, I really don't know him. Their conversation reached the ears of the netizens in the live stream. Tisk, he say a certain best actor is jealous. Shi Sui, look at my hair color, does it have a tinge of green? Haha, as long as I have enough CPs I can have twice the sugar and twice the happiness. In the gazebo in the courtyard. Although Xiangyi's hands were inconvenient, she had no problem adding some seasoning. She asked in a warm voice, Senior Tian, Ling Yi, do you have anything you want to eat for lunch? Tianji said, I've been on a diet recently. I'll just eat some steamed coarse grains. Otherwise, I'll get scolded again when I get home. Tianji was known for being a henpecked husband in the industry. As soon as he spoke, the netizens in front of the screen couldn't help but laugh. Ling Ye's eyes lit up. I'm not picky about food. I like to eat whatever sister makes. Xiangyi nodded slightly. He's not picky about food. Seems like he's an easy kid to take care of. What about you? The young girl looked at Shi Sui. Shi Sui said with a straight face, Pickled fish with pickled cabbage. Xiangyi muttered softly, Don't you dislike sour food? Shi Sui glanced at her. Xiangyi was speechless. In the live stream, Shi Sui's gaze is amazing. Why do I feel that the aura between the two of them is very subtle? Shi Sui, I'm a pickled cabbage fish. It's too much and too much. Tianji and Shi Sui went fishing together. Xiangyi sat by the floor-to-ceiling window and casually flipped through a medical book on food therapy. After acupuncture, her second brother's hand had recovered by more than half. She wanted to nourish him through food therapy. After obtaining Xiangyi's permission, Ling Yi obediently helped tidy up the bookshelves. A gentle breeze blew through the milky yellow curtains. The scene was warm and tranquil. Yes. Ling Yi suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air in the quiet living room. Xiangyi looked up and found that he had been hit on the head by a book that had slipped from the bookshelf. She frowned and got up to walk toward Ling Yi. Ling Yi hurriedly apologized, Sister, I didn't mean to dirty your book. But he heard the girl ask, Does it hurt? Ling Yi stared blankly for a moment as a strange look flashed across his amber eyes. However, he quickly concealed it and said, It won't hurt. Go and rest. Xiangyi picked up the book and inserted it into the bookshelf. It's just a book. It's okay. You don't have to take it to heart. Shua, Ling Yi placed his hand on the bookshelf and from afar, it looked like he was holding Xiangyi in his arms. The red string around his wrist was old but coquettish. "Sister," he said in an obedient tone. "Huh?" Xiangyi turned her face to the side, and only then did she realize that the two of them were a little too close to each other. She frowned in displeasure and wanted to retreat, but Ling Yi blocked her way with his other hand. It was a standard Cabotin posture. "Actually, I didn't recognize you at first either. It was when you were playing with Jianghu." Ling Ye's hair was naturally curly and he looked soft and soft. However, there was a strong sense of paranoia in the depths of his eyes. "But I've traveled with you so many times. If you forget me, I'll be very upset." Chapter 480. At the same time, Xiao Naofu was tired of chasing butterflies in the garden, so it scurried towards the living room with its short legs, ready to ask Xiangyi for some dried fish. Little Shiji followed closely behind it. As soon as it stepped into the living room, Xiao Naofu's eyes widened and its fur stood on end. It glared at Ling Yi in shock. "It's a fast transmigrator? What's going on? This stupid woman has already completed all her missions. Why is she still interacting with a fast transmigrator?" Bang! A loud noise came from the bookshelf. Ling Ye's Cabotin lasted for only a few seconds before Xiangyi pressed him against the bookshelf. The young man's handsome face was pressed against the cold oak bookshelf, causing it to deform slightly. He smirked and said, "Sister, don't be so fierce." Xiangyi had already deduced his identity from his few words. Her gaze was calm and she didn't get emotional because of Ling Ye's words. "Kid, don't blame me for being rude if you get touchy again." There was a hidden threat in her tone. There was a huge uproar in the live stream. What the hell? Xiangyi and Ling Yi are having an affair? They've already traveled. How can they not know each other? The vase fairy is really disgusting. I suddenly feel sorry for Shi Sui. He's so chaste and has never been involved in any scandals with other female celebrities. What about Xiangyi? There are so many women around him, but all she does is flirt with little wolves and puppies. She's so fickle. Something like transmigration was simply too unimaginable for ordinary people. The netizens naturally interpreted traveling as a single man and woman going on a vacation together. Ling Ye's wrists were thin and his fingers were long and slender. Xiangyi was restraining his beautiful hands. Ling Ye's fingertips touched the red string. Seemingly unintentionally, yet also seemingly on purpose, he said, "This is a gift from my sister. I've always kept it well." Xiangyi's expression changed slightly. In several S-grade planes there was often more than one auxiliary role. She had indeed teamed up with the same person in several difficult worlds and even gave him a red blessing string that she had gotten from a certain world. However, in those planes her teammates were all girls. Wait, that's not right. You. Xiangyi was shocked. You're a cross-dresser? Ling Yi blinked his eyes. Did Big Sister just find out? I thought Big Sister knew all along. The conversation between the two made the netizens very excited. F***ck, this is too much information. It can't be what I'm thinking, right? Sister E mistook Ling Yi for a girl and went on a trip with him? The case has been solved. No wonder Sister E didn't recognize Ling Yi. To be more precise, she probably didn't recognize Ling Yi in men's clothing. So what if he's a cross-dresser? Don't forget that our Shuringdi also wore Sister Yi's jacket. When it comes to cross-dressing, our Shuringdi won't lose, humph. Some Shi Sui sister's competitive spirit is a bit too strange. Perhaps because he had been pressed down for too long, Ling Yi began to show signs of weakness. Big sister, it hurts. Xiangyi hadn't recovered yet and her reaction was inevitably a little slow. Just as she was about to let go, she suddenly heard Ling Ye's coquettish tone. Big sister, I'll be good from now on. Can you not be so rough with me next time? Xiangyi was confused. A cold and languid voice suddenly sounded in her ears. Sister E. Xiangyi was speechless. She turned her head abruptly, only to discover that Shi Sui was standing at the door with his back straight and handsome. Special note, not updated on 9/19 but updated on 9/20, good night. Chapter 481. When the camera panned to Shi Sui, the netizens watching the livestream got excited. What a scene. Let's fight. Shi Sui is going to pull Ling Ye's hair. Sister E is so adorable when she's confused. Shi Sui, what are you waiting for? Go and kiss him. Let your younger brother see what it means to be evil in society. Xiangyi snapped out of her daze and immediately let go of Ling Yi. She jogged towards Shi Sui and stopped a few steps away from him. Why are you back? Did you catch any fish? I'm here to get some water for Senior Tian, Shi Sui said in a natural tone without even looking at Ling Yi. How's your hand? The pain of a broken bone was nothing to Xiangyi. Besides, she had been resting for a few days and was feeling much better. However, in front of Shi Sui, she couldn't help but behave coquettishly. It hurts a little. Seeing Shi Sui frown, Xiangyi regretted her words and corrected herself. Just a little. Not far away, Lingyi was leaning against a bookshelf. His body was very sensitive to pain, and even though Xiangyi hadn't used much strength just now, he could still feel a sharp pain in his wrist. His face was pale and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. As he watched the interaction between Xiangyi and Shi Sui, there was a hint of envy in the depths of his eyes. Shi Sui coaxed her to sit down on the couch by the floor-to-ceiling window, not forgetting to put a cushion around her waist. He placed a small blanket on her lap and pulled the charging cable to her hand. On the table in front of her, there were medical books, a magazine, fruits, snacks and flower tea. "Have a good rest," Shi Sui said gently. Xiangyi nodded and sat down obediently. Lingyi was speechless. She was so cold in front of him just now. Why did she become so soft in front of this man? Seeing Shi Sui take out a pot of cold tea from the fridge, Lingyi stepped forward and said, "Mr. Shi, let me accompany you." Shi Sui nodded slightly. The two of them walked side by side to the pond. After walking for a long distance, the two of them were still safe and sound. The netizens were a little disappointed, but they heard Lingyi slowly ask, "Does Mr. Shi like Sister Xiangyi?" The netizens. F***ck little brother, you're a little bold. Oh hey, she's hitting a straight shot. Love. Good question. I've always wanted to know how Shirindi feels about Sister E. The cameraman switched the camera to Shi Sui's face. The man's face was chiseled and his jawline was smooth. No matter how bad the angle was, there was no fault to be found. In front of the screen, many of the Shi Sui sisters thought that Shi Sui would be able to solve this problem easily with his EQ. For example, Sister E is so outstanding, who would hate her? Another example was, children asking such questions, are they looking for puppy love? Aren't you afraid that I'll inform your parents? However, to their surprise, Shi Sui said calmly, "Yeah, I like her." In an instant, the cameraman's hands trembled and he almost dropped the expensive equipment. The comments in the live stream seemed to have been cleared. 1 second, 2 seconds, whoosh. Overwhelming comments filled the entire screen. Like? Shirindi said he likes her, right? He admitted it. This D***MN man finally admitted it. The whole building is filled with my rooster cries. Come and tell me loudly it's inappropriate. Yes. Really? Yes. Chapter 482. To everyone's surprise, Shi Sui didn't beat around the bush or throw the question back at them. Instead, he openly admitted to his feelings for her. Not only did the live stream cause a sensation, but the hashtag Shi Sui's confession hashtag also quickly became a trending topic on Weibo. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was the hottest topic on the internet. Lingyi was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Shi Sui to give such an answer. He adjusted his mood and said with a smile, "After all, who wouldn't want to get close to such a warm person like Big Sister?" Shi Sui glanced at him indifferently. For some reason, Lingyi felt a dangerous aura from him. He had traveled through many worlds, and even if he had met people of high status or extremely powerful martial arts, none of them had made him as wary as the man in front of him. This guy, what kind of existence is he? Lingyi suddenly felt uncertain. "Mr. Shi, are you afraid that I'll snatch Big Sister away?" He tilted his head and revealed a harmless smile. His facial features were exquisite, and his hair was slightly curly. He's really an angelic young man. As for whether or not he had Satan in his heart, that was still up for debate. "Shi Sui, you won't be able to snatch her away." Lingyi was curious. "Are you that confident?" The mature and noble man lowered his eyes and chuckled. "Because I believe in her taste. She'll definitely choose the best one." Xiao Naofu, who was secretly following behind the two of them, frowned when it heard this. It had the urge to spit out its furball. It had never seen such a shameless person. Lingyi originally thought that Shi Sui was a gentleman, modest, and polite person. However, the system's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. "According to my speculation, there's a 90% chance that he and Miss Xiangyi are together." **CK. Lingyi's feelings were very complicated. Soon they walked to the side of the pond. Lingyi obediently poured a glass of water for his master and then accompanied him to fish. Tianji took a sip and praised, "Osmanthus oolong? Diske, it turns out that cold brewed tea has a different flavor too." Shi Sui said, "Sister E has made a lot of tea bags recently. If Senior likes them, you can bring a few more flavors to try when you leave." Lingyi heard the system say, "Look, he's already acting like the male host. Why don't we just forget about it? Miss Xiangyi is so beautiful, she's destined to be someone you can't get. Ling Yi fell silent for a moment as he recalled how popular Xiangyi was in other transmigration worlds. Fast transmigrators often experienced life and death, betrayal, separation, deception. Some people might have completed their mission, but they had lost their humanity. However, Xiangyi was still able to treat people with gentleness, which made her seem even more precious. He was so impatient that he didn't catch a single fish for a long time. On Shi Sui's side, fish were lining up to take the bait. Tianji also caught a lot of fish. It's almost time. Let's pack up and go back, Tianji said. Shi Sui responded and threw the fish back into the pond. Releasing small fish was an old tradition for fishermen. Tianji asked, "Do you fish often? What's the highest record?" Most people would answer the number of fish they caught or what rare species they caught, but Shi Sui smiled and said, "Those who are willing to take the bait." And it was a Sister E mermaid. Tianji was very experienced in life and understood everything with just 4 words. He squinted his eyes and smiled without saying anything. The next second, the cat's meow attracted everyone's attention. They saw the white, soft and fluffy Xiao Naofu blocking Ling Ye's way and roaring fiercely. Meow meow meow. Chapter 483. Stop. Don't move. This hoo-hoo has something to say to you. Although Ling Yi didn't understand cat language, his system did and signaled for him to stop. Is this cat a spirit? No, this is a godless world, so it's impossible for it to become a spirit. The system muttered to itself. According to speculation, it may be a creature from another plane, and the possibility of it being a fast transmigrator cannot be ruled out. Ling Yi thought for a moment and smiled at the cameraman. It's dangerous for the kitten to be alone by the river. I'll accompany it for a while. Uncle, can you go back first? In this world, not many people could resist such a smile. The cameraman agreed to Ling Ye's request in a daze. Shi Sui pushed her gold-rimmed glasses and narrowed her eyes slightly. Tianji, children are so playful. Let him stay with the kitten. Let's go, I'll teach you how to play the Swana when we get back. Shi Sui couldn't help but laugh. The netizens knew that teacher Tian was joking, but they were still amused and couldn't stop laughing in front of their screens. By the pond, Xiao Naofu puffed out its chest and roared domineeringly, "Ah meow. Don't bully this stupid woman, she has this hoo-hoo to protect her." Ling Yi listened to the simultaneous translation in his mind, squatted down, and tried to scratch Xiao Naofu's chin. "You? How are you going to protect her?" Xiao Naofu responded with a fierce tiger claw. Ling Yi sucked in a breath of cold air, and a bloody mark appeared on the back of his pale hand. "It's quite fierce." He sighed. "Umph." Xiao Naofu rolled its eyes at him. Ling Yi simply sat down on the ground. He didn't mind the dirt and coughed twice in a low voice. "In order to show my sincerity, I promise you that I won't hurt her. However, shouldn't you also explain your identity, kitten?" Xiao Naofu was furious. As it yelled, the system translated, "Are you blind? I'm not a kitten, king idiot. Ahem, the profanity has been blocked for the host. Hey, it mentions systems and fast transmigrations." Ling Yi raised his eyebrows. "You're a fast transmigrator?" Xiao Naofu stared at him with its icy blue cat eyes, cautious and vigilant. "My system number 522, do you know it? I heard that it has a good reputation among systems." Xiao Naofu's eyes lit up. Every system had its own personality. For example, number 522 was the kind that was full of righteousness. In the heat of the moment, Xiao Naofu told her about his failed reincarnation. "I'll pass on your message to the main system." Ling Yi smiled warmly. "You're such a good person, so Xiangyi must like you as well." His slender fingers gently rubbed the back of Xiao Naofu's neck. Xiao Naofu was elated by the compliment and didn't avoid it this time. Ling Yi easily gained Xiao Naofu's trust and even managed to get a lot of information out of him. After coaxing Xiao Naofu into a trance and hopping back to the villa, he stood there with a cruel smile on his face. What a naive kitten. You believe everything I say. In fact, his system was not number 522 at all. The system was silent for a while before asking, "Do you need me to transmit the bug information to the main system?" "No. Say. Intercept." Ling Yi coughed a few more times and clenched his sleeves tightly. There must be something wrong with this plane. His voice was bewitching. "Baby, don't you want to transcend?" System. Not every fast transmigrator and system had such strong beliefs. Maybe we can take advantage of the small bug in this plane to create a big one. Ling Ye's eyes were astonishingly bright. Chapter 484. Back at the villa, Shi Sui took the initiative to deal with the fish. Tianji asked in surprise. Sure Sui, you're so good at cooking? Sure Sui answered swiftly, I learned a little from Sister Yi. With a loud bang, the fish was knocked out by him. The next scene was too gory, so there was no camera in the live stream. Tianji was full of praise for Sure Sui, but he had never been in the kitchen much in his life, so he had no choice but to stroll to the living room. He hummed 2 lines of Peking opera and his voice wasn't loud, but Xiangyi heard it. She turned her head and smiled faintly. Is it locked up? Senior, you sing well. Tianji was amused. Hey little girl, you know Peking opera too? Seemingly realizing that he had said something inappropriate, he corrected himself. I'd like to clarify that I don't mean to discriminate against women. I'm just expressing my personal opinion and have no intention of causing a debate or encroaching on public resources. Please forgive me for my inappropriate language. His tone was melodious and amusing, and the live stream was instantly filled with laughter. Teacher Tian's desire to survive is too strong. Tianji is a walking joke. Just by standing there, I can laugh the whole day just by looking at him. Xiangyi burst into laughter, making her milky white face look radiant and stunning. I don't know much, but my grandpa often listened to it when I was a child, so I know a few classic songs. Tianji, on the other hand, was itching to learn. In addition to folk music, he also liked to sing Peking opera, but his singing was only at the level of a fan. However, he especially liked teaching others how to sing, especially young people. Tianji cleared his throat. How can you just listen to it? Come on little girl, I'll teach you a few lines. Xiangyi froze for a moment, then closed the medical book in her hand and smiled. Thank you, Teacher Tian. However, there were a lot of question marks in the live stream. Sister E, wake up. Don't, kid, other people need money to sing, but have you forgotten that your singing is life-threatening? For those who don't understand why everyone is so confused, you can search for a single that Xiangyi once released. Some curious people really went to search for it. Title of the song: Cafes Closed on a Rainy Day. Oh wow, at first glance it looked quite artistic. He clicked play. The moment she heard Xiangyi speak, his expression gradually cracked. No way, right? How could such a beautiful voice sing so badly? Not long after, a group of absent-minded netizens appeared in the live stream. After listening to half of the song, I feel like becoming a monk. Where's the sound modifier? It can't be the original song, right? A person who knows so many musical instruments is tone deaf. This is F*King ridiculous. Someone replied, Dear, it's not that there aren't sound editors. The version you're listening to now is already the edited version. Everyone? She suddenly understood why Xiangyi was hated by the entire internet. It was fine if it was just lousy. The problem was it was too rotten. There were also people who retorted, Sister E sang in Two Under One Roof before, it wasn't that bad? However, not everyone had seen that live stream and the TV version wasn't broadcast there either. Hence, most people had already given up hope that Xiangyi would learn Peking opera. Some people even pressed the mute button, while others silently put on earplugs. Well, if they covered their ears, they wouldn't be able to hear Sister Yi's deadly voice. However, they still had to see her face. Some of Xiangyi's anti-fans rushed over when they heard the news, and they were so happy that they were about to cry. They had never seen the main character dissing herself like this. Wasn't this just rushing to give her dirt? They decisively turned the volume to the maximum and even turned on the screen recording function. Chapter 485. Hence, the livestream viewers were divided into 2 groups, those who liked to lick Tian's beauty and those who liked to record. Tianji drank a mouthful of water to moisten his throat and cleared his throat. Come on, I'll sing a word and you'll sing a word. The anti-fans. Tsk. Most people learn to sing word by word, but Tianji has to teach Vase Fairy word by word. You can imagine how good Vase Fairy is to him. However, as soon as Tianji opened his mouth, everyone was dumbfounded. Just the word spring alone was like flowing water, twisting and turning, winding and winding, but it had a unique charm of its own. Damn, this is too difficult, isn't it? That was the common thought of countless netizens who were watching the live stream. In the next second, Xiangyi hummed along with him. Her pitch was perfect and she even imitated the twists and turns of the song perfectly. Damn it, how did she learn it so quickly? This was the exclamation of countless netizens who sang along only to realize that they could only sing the quacking of ducks and geese. Tianji was also very surprised and he praised, Good. Very good. Little girl, you're very talented. He taught even more energetically and Xiangyi also learned very seriously. After breaking down each word, Tianji said, I'll sing a complete sentence for you, listen carefully. Afraid that Xiangyi would feel pressured, he added, It's okay if you can't learn it in one go. It was rare to meet someone with such a high level of comprehension. Even if he had to teach her a few more times, he would be willing to do so. Tianji clapped his hands to the beat and sang a whole sentence in a babbling voice. The netizens commented that they couldn't even learn a single word, let alone such a long sentence. Some anti-fans sneered. Waiting for a huge flop? A word is a word and a whole sentence is a whole sentence. How can Vase Fairy learn it in one go? I think this is similar to learning English. Everyone can recognize the 26 letters, but it's hard to say if they can be translated into words, let alone sentences. However, Spicy Tutu ignored them and focused on supporting Xiangyi. Wooly, go. Xiangyi, Mama believes that you're the best. Sister E, just sing casually, don't feel pressured. Come on, let's go. Tianji clapped his hands for Xiangyi. The young girl sang along with the rhythm. Outside the pavilion of spring and autumn, there's a storm, ha! The netizens who had their voices turned on were stunned. Oh my god, how is this possible? The netizens who didn't turn on their voices were still joking. Shut up, we're on the same side. Beautiful eyes, seductive soul, beautiful voice, heartbreaking. Looking at the video, she seems to be quite engrossed in her singing. Friends who have turned on their voices, are you guys okay? However, after waiting for a long time, no one scolded Xiangyi. Instead, there were a bunch of strange comments. What the F asterisk CK? This isn't real? Lip sync? He must be lip syncing. Mute party, huh? I've been waiting for so long. Why don't you guys spit on me? Could it be that it was so bad that he couldn't even spit it out? Someone reached out a little Giorgio that was testing the waters at the edge of danger and raised the volume by a notch. Tianji said excitedly, genius. Little girl, you are simply a genius. She felt that Tianji was going to say, damn it. Xiangyi said embarrassedly, I happen to have heard this song before. Tianji's eyes lit up. Sing a verse for me then. Xiangyi tried singing a verse. Tianji slapped his thigh and exclaimed, well sung. Little girl, I'll learn from you. Teach me. Everyone was dumbfounded. What? Teacher Tian? Are you the teacher or is Sister E the teacher? Chapter 486. When Ling Yi returned after fooling Xiao Naofu, he heard the master of this body pointing at Xiangyi and saying half-jokingly, this is my master, your grandmaster. A question mark slowly appeared above the young man's head. He was just fooling the little kitten. How did his sister's seniority rise? Xiangyi, Senior Tian, don't joke around. I don't deserve to be called master. If you like Beijing opera, we can communicate more in the future. Tianji laughed and exchanged contact information with Xiangyi. Ling Ye's eyelashes fluttered and he coughed for a while before whispering, Sister, can I add you? Xiangyi couldn't stand seeing such a pitiful expression on a good-looking person's face, so she added him. There was a buzz. It was a message from Ling Yi. Little Yetsu. Sister, don't you want to know what my mission is this time? Xiangyi was speechless. Well, it seemed that she had been deceived by the young man's appearance. What little angel? He's clearly a little devil. She replied, it has nothing to do with me. Ling Yi licked the corner of his lips and tapped the screen with his slender fingers elegantly as if he was dancing on the black and white piano keys. Sister, you're so cold? He clicked on the emoji pack and chose for a long time before sending a pitiful kitten emoji that he was most satisfied with. However, a notification appeared on the screen. The message has been sent, but it was rejected by the other party. Did she blacklist him? Ling Ye's facial muscles twitched. On the other side, Tianji received a message. He closed his phone and looked at Li Jianyu. Director Li, the new disciple I mentioned to you is here. Li Jianyu hurriedly said, I'll arrange for someone to pick her up. Director Yan was the one who introduced Tianji to them. When Tianji proposed to bring two of his little disciples to the show, Li Jianyu naturally had no objections. He assumed that the other disciple was in the music industry, so he didn't care much about her identity. Xiangyi glanced at the kitchen. Sure, Sui is busy, I'll go pick her up. Ling Yi said, I'll go too. Okay, you two young people can run errands. I won't go. I want to listen to Xiangyi's performance just now. Tianji took out his mobile phone. He had recorded Xiangyi's performance just now. The netizens joked that teacher Tian had failed to take in a disciple and had instead found himself a master. On the way to the entrance of the manor, Ling Yi tried to strike up a conversation with Xiangyi several times. However, regardless of whether he acted cute or pitiful, Xiangyi was very polite to him. Distant politeness. Ling Yi clenched his fists, feeling somewhat indignant. The netizens in the live stream couldn't stand it anymore. Sister E, pay attention to your brother. Woo-woo, Sister E, you scumbag, your brother is about to cry cack. Ling Yi is too cute. Why can't such an obedient child get Sister Yi's love? I don't really understand you women. If the genders were swapped, you would definitely be scolded and criticized for starting a harem. Why are you so excited when a woman starts a harem? None of your business. Do you need a reason to be a couple? Doghead. The summer wind blew, bringing with it a sticky and stuffy feeling. A black business car was parked at the entrance. It seemed low-key, but it was expensive. Ling Yi stepped forward and opened the door for the person in the car. Xiangyi caught sight of a familiar face. She frowned slightly. Qin Wanyin, who had exquisite makeup and was dressed in a long dress, seemed to have been reborn. She looked at Xiangyi with a strong sense of superiority. She had now been chosen to be a fast transmigrator. Was Xiangyi worthy of being compared to her? What a joke. I've been suffering for 2 days because of my health, but I still haven't written much. I'm feeling pretty bad too. Sigh, I'll try to write more during the day. Unders? Good night. Chapter 487. Hello, Miss Qin, Xiangyi greeted her calmly. Although they weren't close, there was nothing wrong with her manners. Qin Wanyin smiled at Xiangyi and said, Hello, Xiangyi. I'm Teacher Tian's new disciple. Please take care of me in the future. The netizens were dumbfounded. Hello? Isn't this Qin Wanyin? I'm impressed. How did she manage to greet Xiangyi so calmly? If I were her, I would be so embarrassed that I would dig my toes into the ground. Is Teacher Tian's taste bad? Qin Wanyin previously used her main account to pretend to be a pure white lotus and used her sub-account to defame Sister Yi. Have you all forgotten that she was exposed? However, Qin Wanyin had previously accumulated a group of loyal fans. After several rounds of abuse, the fans that remained were the type that would continue to support Qin Wanyin even if she were to commit murder and arson. They would form a logical and self-consistent fan base. Their fighting prowess was quite astonishing. Stop defaming our immortal Qin, okay? Immortal Qin was accepted by Teacher Tian because of her musical talent. Some maggots should stop being jealous of our immortal Qin. Our little immortal Qin was too straightforward and said a few honest words. That's why she was banned by the vicious vase fairy. But who asked her to be so outstanding that she still managed to get the script of a strong woman story? When the passers-by saw these comments, they didn't have a good impression of Qin Wanyin. Sometimes, the comments of fans would have a strong impact on the artiste. Qin Wanyin took the initiative to hold onto Xiangyi's arm, but the latter quietly avoided her. She had no choice but to take a step back and leave with Ling Yi. To her surprise, Ling Yi shook her off and chased after Xiangyi pitifully while panting. Sister, wait. You're walking too fast. Qin Wanyin was speechless. Wait, what's wrong with this person? Isn't Ling Yi here to help me achieve a perfect life? Why isn't he treating me well and sticking to Xiangyi instead? Xiangyi glanced at the cold sweat on Ling Yi's forehead and slowed down her pace. They remained silent the entire way. Back in the living room, Tianji's eyes narrowed into slits when he saw Qin Wanyin. He took the initiative to introduce her to everyone. This is my new disciple. She's the best at playing the Swordsmanship. Qin Wanyin's expression froze. She just wanted to use her identity as Tianji's disciple as a springboard to climb to the top of the entertainment industry step by step. She didn't really want to do folk music. What's more, it was an unpresentable instrument like the Swordsmanship. Qin Wanyin hated Tianji to death in her heart. Why did he mention that she was playing the Swordsmanship in front of so many people? Reality proved that Qin Wanyin's worries were not unfounded. As soon as Tianji's introduction came out, the livestream room was filled with laughter. The people who were the most confused were her fans. What? Is Immortal Qin playing the Swordsmanship? Isn't it a Guqin? When our little fairy plays the Swordsmanship, she must be a fairy too, right? When Teacher Tian mentioned his beloved disciple, he couldn't stop talking. He knew that Qin Wanyin wanted to be famous, so he deliberately helped her make her presence known to the netizens. Come, it's the evening smoke. Let's blow it for everyone. For a moment, the situation was extremely awkward. Hey, don't be shy. Why don't you get Ling Yi to accompany you? Teacher Xiang, do you know how to play the Sanxian too? Can you give me a hand? Sure. Qin Wanyin found it hard to turn down such a generous offer. She had no choice but to dawdle and take out the Swordsmanship. Her expression and mood were as if she was going to visit a grave. Chapter 488. Ling Yi had brought a Guqin with him in the car. When he took it out, the simple design of the Guqin amazed many people. Everyone knew that he was very accomplished in the piano, but they were curious about his Guqin skills. Xiangyi also took out her Sanxian. The Guqin was black and decorated with red paint patterns. The 3 strings were exquisite, and the two sides of the guqin were covered with snake skin. The two gyukins looked ancient and charming. The suona that Qin Wanyin took out was carefully made by Tianji. The mouth of the suona was golden, and there was a piece of red silk cloth tied to it. It looked very festive. Qin Wanyin tried to secretly remove the red cloth, but she met Tianji's sad eyes. "Child, this is beautiful. Why can't you understand Master's aesthetics?" She put on a fake smile. "Master, I like it. I just want to tidy it up." "Let me do it." Tianji volunteered and removed the red silk cloth. After thinking for a while, he retied it into a fluffy bow. "Well, my little disciple is a girl. She should like it." Little did he know that Qin Wanyin had already cursed his ancestors in her heart. What bow? It's so old-fashioned. She hated Ling Yi even more. There were so many musical instrument skill cards in the system store, but he recommended her to choose the suona card. Wasn't he deliberately tricking her? However, when she met Ling Ye's innocent eyes, she was confused again. Perhaps Ling Yi was really just being nice? All kinds of complicated feelings intertwined in her heart. She heard Tianji say, "Then let's play carrying the bridal sedan. Sure Sui, don't mess with the fish. Come out and listen. This song is very festive." Hearing the sound, Sure Sui wiped his hands and came out of the kitchen. His eyes fell on Xiangyi. Seeing that the girl's hair was slightly messy, he strode forward and took out a hair clip with a bow from his pocket. He fixed the girl's scattered hair. Xiangyi licked her lips uncomfortably. "Thank you." Sure Sui chuckled. "You're welcome." Qin Wanyin felt depressed. Xiangyi's bow was a scene from an idol drama. Her bow was a scene from a village drama. Gritting her teeth, Qin Wanyin steeled her heart and picked up the suona. She was the one who could achieve a perfect life. What did a mere Xiangyi count for? That idiot must not even know what fast transmigration is. At the same time, Ling Yi and Xiangyi started to play the prelude. The guqin sound was akin to high mountains and flowing rivers, deep and distant, while the sanshin sound was akin to the ringing of a bell, deep and clear. In terms of timbre alone, the two were actually not very suitable for this song. However, after the delicate and skillful performance of the two, it gave off a different feeling. The netizens in the livestream praised group went online. "Wow, this song is so good. Sister E and her brother have such chemistry. Woo, I feel like the two of them are soulmates when it comes to music." Jianghu, what about me? It's obviously a story of three people, but I'm not worthy of a name? Smile, smile. However, the moment Qin Wanyin puffed up her cheeks and blew the suona, be it the plucked strings of the guqin or the glissando, they could no longer be heard. His ears were filled with the shocking penetrating power of the hooligan suona. Beep, 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 beep. In particular, the cameraman even gave Qin Wanyin a close-up shot. The screen was full of images of Qin Wanyin puffing up her cheeks and shaking her head while playing the suona. Qin Wanyin's loyal fans were dumbfounded. Where's our little fairy? I suddenly want to quit being her fan. Chapter 489. That scene was so delightful that it made them hate Qin Wanyin even more. Ha ha, I can't take it anymore, I'm laughing so hard that I'm out of breath. I've gradually forgotten that Qin Wanyin used to be the lead singer of a girl group. She's actually quite good at playing, but why are her cheeks so big? The layman enjoyed the show while the expert enjoyed the intricacies. Others found Qin Wanyin to be hilarious, but Tianji was mesmerized by her performance. She's a rare talent that only appears once in a decade. His lung capacity, his rhythm, and his emotions could only be described with one word: spot on. It's too much to add and too little to subtract. However, Sure Sui felt a strong sense of disconnect. It was very familiar. His slender, jade-like fingers with distinct joints slowly tapped on the table. All of a sudden he stopped. Sure Sui raised his hand and adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, his eyes gloomy and gloomy. He recalled where he had felt that feeling before. It was Xiangyi in the past year. Qin Wanyin felt like a completely different person when she was playing the suona. It was as if she wasn't the one playing the suona, but something in her body that was controlling her. Xiao Naofu, who was in the cat villa, was woken up by the sound of the suona. It looked at the source of the sound with sleepy eyes. Meow. Its fur immediately stood up. Little Shiji, who was sleeping next to it, hurriedly licked it with its watery black eyes full of bewilderment. Woof. Xiao Naofu pushed little Shiji away with its paws and stared at Qin Wanyin with its icy blue eyes. Little Shiji nestled next to it aggrievedly with its ears drooping. Xiao Naofu was completely dumbfounded. Why is there another fast transmigrator? This doesn't make sense. There must be something wrong. The song came to an end. Qin Wanyan put down the Swana and felt a sudden soreness in her facial muscles. In fact, she didn't know how to play the Swana at all. Every time she played it, it was because of the skill card. Good. Tianji exclaimed with a radiant smile and tried his best to applaud his disciple. Out of politeness, Shui also clapped twice. Qin Wanyan's eyes lit up when she saw him applaud. Could it be that Shui had a whole new level of respect for her? Actually, the person he liked now was her fresh, refined, and unconventional self? She asked the system in her mind, I want to conquer him. Help me think of a way. The one assigned to Qin Wanyan was a new system. It said weakly, Host, he is not within the scope of your mission. Qin Wanyan, don't you exist to help me achieve a perfect life? Then, in addition to my career, I also need to have love, so he is also a part of my perfect life. The little system said, Please wait for a moment, I need to check the database. Qin Wanyan said disdainfully, How useless. The little system, Wu, in any case I have Lingyi helping me. Helping me is his mission. It's only right and proper. Qin Wanyan was brimming with confidence. Give me another beauty filter card. Host points are very precious. It is not recommended to exchange for this item. This item will only add to your original beauty? Disobedient? Do you think I won't replace you? Successfully exchanged for the card. Qin Wanyan couldn't wait to use the card. Her long dress swayed gracefully as she walked toward Shui. Tianji encouraged her, Keep up the good work. Thank you, teacher. Qin Wanyan smiled and looked at Shui. Senior Shi, what do you think of my performance? Shui, Miss Qin, your eyelids are falling. He paused and asked sincerely, Do you need glue? Chapter 490. Qin Wanyan's expression collapsed. Feeling angry and panicked, she quickly turned her back to the camera and used her phone as a mirror to search for her eyelids. Sure enough, half of the eyelid sticker had fallen off. Just as she was thinking about how to remedy the situation, a pair of pale and slender fingers suddenly appeared in front of her and tore off her eyelid sticker. Lingyi said innocently, Sister Wanyan, where's the glue? I'll help you put it back on. Qin Wanyan was speechless. So be it, why did you have to tear it off first? After tearing off the eyelid sticker, Qin Wanyan's eyes had become single pairs. Even with the enhancement of the beauty filter card, her looks were still affected. The netizens in the livestream were laughing like crazy. What kind of straight man is Shuringdi speaking? Lingye's brother is also very straight. He even wants to help her stick it on, haha. Ah, single eyelids really do affect one's looks. Even a beauty like Qin Wanyan can't stand it. How dare she call herself a beauty in front of Sister E? Sister E can beat her without makeup. She's wearing heavy makeup, so she's just bragging with her eyes closed, right? At the side, Xiangyi sneezed. Before she could reach for the tissue box, Shui had already pulled out a tissue and stuffed it into her hand. She then got up to pour her a cup of hot tea. When she returned with the tea, she wrapped the small blanket around her again. This set of movements was smooth and natural. Qin Wanyan was dumbfounded. The netizens watching the live stream were also dumbfounded. Who just said that Shuringdi is straight? Ah, the way he lowered his head to cover Sister E with the blanket is so cool. What kind of godly man is this? Seriously, from now on all the male protagonists in romance novels have faces. Shuringdi's double standards have won my heart. My family is very satisfied, I just don't know if Sister E has been enlightened. Boo-hoo, Sister E, this man likes you, do you know? Tianji told Qin Wanyan, who had just finished touching up her makeup, about the things to take note of when playing the Swana. You can play it even better, first of all, the technique. Qin Wanyan listened absent-mindedly, feeling that this old man was so annoying. She had the system as her golden finger, so she didn't have to worry about not knowing how to play the Swana. Tianji seemed to see her impatience. He sighed but was not angry. He only said, Wanyan, you have to calm down. Look at Teacher Xiang. There's a saying that goes, 1,000 days for the Pipa, 100 days for the Zither, and half a lifetime for the Sanxian. For her to have such achievements at such a young age, she must have put in a lot of hard work. Qin Wanyan grew even more frustrated. How could Xiangyi compare to her? She was a fast transmigrator. What was Xiangyi to him? She already had a cheat in her life, so why would she still painstakingly learn such useless things? Tianji let out another long sigh. He didn't show his dissatisfaction with Qin Wanyan's temperament in the live broadcast room. Qin Wanyan's thoughts weren't on him at all. Instead, she was searching for Shui. She watched as the refined, abstinent, and elegant man rolled up his sleeves and went to the kitchen to cook fish. Xiangyi leaned against the door frame and explained the cooking steps to him. From time to time, their gazes met in the air. Shui would always smile gently and dotingly. He would never smile at her like that. Qin Wanyan's fingertips sank into her palms. She slowly exhaled and pretended that nothing had happened as she walked to Xiangyi's side. Sister Yi, I heard that you've done a lot of charity work and donated a lot of money to the Spring Flower Foundation. I recently saw some reports about the lack of hygiene products for the girls left behind. I want to do something to help. Can you tell me what I should do? Chapter 491. Hearing Qin Wanyan's words, Xiangyi's anti-fans in the live stream were stunned. Huh? The vase fairy actually does charity? Philanthropists are often equated with kind-hearted people. Everyone's favorable impression of Xiangyi instantly rose by a lot. Some even expressed that they would never criticize Xiangyi again. I was wrong, the vase fairy? Oh no, the little vase is actually so kind. I can't criticize her anymore. Xiangyi said calmly, you can consult a professional organization. Qin Wanyan pretended to be surprised. Huh? When you do charity, don't you do it yourself? Xiangyi looked at her strangely. What do you think counts as charity? At least, you should personally go to the orphanages and nursing homes to accompany the poor elderly and children, and give them some rice, flour, oil, and daily necessities. Xiangyi nodded. I see. She ignored Qin Wanyan and went to help Shui prepare the fish with pickled cabbage. The netizens were dumbfounded. That's it? That's it? Qin Wanyan is quite likable? Has Xiangyi really done charity? Why do I feel like she hasn't done anything like what Qin Wanyan said? Damn, there's something to eat, friends. Mrs. Tsin and the Spring Flower Foundation have posted on Weibo. The current state of the internet was that everyone would come to eat when there was something to eat. Everyone rushed to Weibo like bees in a field of melons. The Spring Flower Foundation was a private charity that was very well known. The founder was Mrs. Tsin from the socialite circle of Nanqing. She had an elegant demeanor and often shared her daily life online. Hence she had many fans. Just a few minutes ago, she updated her personal Weibo account. Tsin Suqin, lies grow all year round. The Spring Flower Foundation's official Weibo account also updated. Spring Flower Foundation. Due to receiving too many private messages, we solemnly declare that our foundation has never received any donations from Ms. Xiangyi. Thank you for your support of the Spring Flower Foundation. We would like to express our gratitude to the kind-hearted people in society. Charity is not easy, and we have no intention of encroaching on public resources. We only hope that a small organization like us will not be taken advantage of again. As soon as these two Weibo posts were posted, it instantly caused a stir. The amount of information he had was too much. Nanny, so who's lying? Didn't she say it very clearly? She didn't receive a single cent of Xiangyi's donation. Everyone calm down. Qin Wanyan was the one who said Sister Yi donated, not Sister Yi herself. So Xiangyi cheated the donation? Why do you say you're doing charity if you're not donating? Ah, really? He couldn't tell that she was this kind of person. Disgusting. F***ck Xiangyi is scamming donations? Such a big melon must be pushed to the top of the hot searches. The more the rumors spread, the more outrageous they became. In the end, the passers-by didn't care about the truth. They just caught on to the words Xiangyi's donation fraud, and started to scold her. Using charity to clear one's name was something everyone hated. What's more, using charity to gain popularity. As for the Spring Flower Foundation, it had unknowingly increased its popularity. In a short period of time, it had received a large amount of donations. Qin Wanyan hid from the camera and secretly played with her phone. After seeing the developments on the internet, she sent Tsintai a message. Tsintai, don't forget about the resources we agreed on. She locked her phone screen and smiled. Xiangyi is doing charity? How is that possible? Qin Wanyan had known Xiangyi for a year and was well aware of her true nature. She was an extremely selfish person. She deserves to be labeled as a scammer. Chapter 492. Apart from Qin Wanyan, the other guests were unaware of the public opinion on the internet. Li Jianghu and the others saw it and were having a headache over how to deal with it. Why do I feel like this Spring Flower Foundation is trying to scam Sister Yi? Li Jianghu complained. Normally, there would be some time for official accounts to react to such a matter. However, as soon as Qin Wanyan asked the question in the live stream, the Spring Flower Foundation's official account immediately issued a statement to clarify the matter. The timing was too delicate. Ruan Qing said, let's continue with the live stream first. The Public Relations Department of Tomato Entertainment should be able to handle it. We'll see what happens later. If there's a need for cooperation, we'll get Sister Yi to clarify the matter in the live stream. That'll be more efficient. Seeing that she had arranged everything in an orderly manner, Li Jinyu scratched his head and said, I suddenly feel like I've been worrying for nothing. Well, Sister E is now the CEO of Tomato Entertainment. The CEO of Stars Entertainment is my uncle and the eldest brother of Linshan Law Firm. The power of these two people alone is enough to subvert the entertainment industry. Not to mention I still have Xiang Yi, and Madame Xiang. 3 dishes and a soup were served on the dining table. Xiang Yi had been itching to cook with her uninjured hand, but she was stopped by Shi Sui. Everyone try it. If you don't like it, don't force yourself. We can still order takeout, Shi Sui said with a gentle and elegant smile. Although everyone had different thoughts, they still had to eat. They picked up their chopsticks and tasted the main dish first, pickled fish with pickled cabbage. The fish was a carp that Tianji had caught. It was large and plump. Shi Sui sliced the fish into slices and added the seasoning that Xiang Yi had put in. She then added egg white and stirred it evenly so that every piece of fish was coated with egg pulp. That was the secret to making the fish fresh and tender. After deep-frying pickled peppers, Sichuan peppers, sesame peppers, garlic cloves, and other ingredients until they were fragrant, she added pickled cabbage and fish slices to stir-fry them together. Then she added the separated fish meat and bones and slowly placed them in the casserole. The final product was a creamy white and fragrant fish soup. The fish meat was fresh and tender, the pickled cabbage was glistening, and the red chili peppers. It was visually and fragrant. Tianji tasted it with his chopsticks and praised, Oh Shi Sui, your culinary skills are amazing. Any girl who marries you will be blessed. Shi Sui smiled. Tianji changed the topic, but it's a new era now. Men and women are equal. It's the same if you marry into the family. I'm marrying into her family. I've had a good relationship with my wife for so many years. Let's eat soft rice. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Netizens? At this moment, no one had the time to scold Xiang Yi for fraud. Everyone's attention was diverted. Marry into the family? Shirindi married Sister E? Seems pretty good too. Isn't Sister E hiding Jiao Jiao in the manor now? Shirindi is Sister Yi's Jiao Jiao baby duck. Once I accept the fact that Shirindi is Xiao Jiao Jiao. Oh my god, I want to write a fanfic. The sister in front, here's the keyboard, hurry up. Under everyone's focus, Shi Sui smiled and said, Thank you for your advice, senior. I'll consider it. Xiang Yi choked and coughed. She wanted to vomit, but she was a little far from the trash can. In the next second, the man's fair and slender hand appeared in front of her. Shi Sui tilted her head slightly and removed her gold-rimmed glasses. Her peach blossom eyes seemed to contain deep emotions and were very seductive. His voice was low and magnetic, without a trace of reluctance. Vomit on my hand. Chapter 493. Ling Yi, who was about to pick up the trash can and move it to Xiang Yi's feet, froze in midair. Damn. This man is even better at love than all the other fast transmigrators I've seen. Qin Wanyan's eyes were filled with disbelief. Why is this man so unreachable to me, treating Xiang Yi so well? She should be the one chosen by the heavens. Tianji, on the other hand, was smiling like an uncle as if he was taking the lead in making love. Xiang Yi was stunned for a moment before she shook her head to indicate that it was dirty. Shi Sui, however, said, It's okay, I'll wash my hands later. His words seemed to have a bewitching charm. Xiang Yi subconsciously spat out the pickled pepper on his palm. The clear lines on his palm were stained with food residue. Even though he was a clean freak, his expression didn't change at all. His eyes were filled with gentleness. The fans of the untimely couple exclaimed, Oh my god, I've hit it again. Xiang Yi felt as if she was soaking in a jar of honey water. It was sweet and warm. Her face was no longer as calm as before. Instead, she was smiling brightly. She looked like a young girl. Ling Yi looked at the small interaction between the two of them, and a hint of yearning flashed past the depths of his eyes. Not everyone was willing to transmigrate for missions. Killing, scheming against each other, life and death parting. One world after another, they didn't even have a chance to catch their breath. No matter how deep their friendship was, it would disappear by the time they reached the next world. The more memories there were, the more painful it would be. Ling Ye's desire to stay in this world became stronger and stronger. Xiang Yi had a fatal attraction to him. It wasn't just the feelings between a man and a woman. It was also a sense of belonging, like a chick returning to its nest. He could feel that he was jealous of Shi Sui. Ling Yi coughed softly and raised his hand to scoop up the pickled fish. However, due to his absent-mindedness, he accidentally knocked over the sky-blue soup bowl. In an instant, the fish slices and pickled vegetables all spilled out, and the soup flowed down the table. It was rare for Ling Yi to be in such a sorry state. Feeling uneasy, he took out a tissue to wipe the table, but the tissue was quickly used up. In a moment of desperation, he wanted to wipe the table with the hem of his shirt, but Xiangyi stopped him. The young man looked up with a layer of mist in his amber eyes. "Sister," Xiangyi said, "sit still. I'll get a rag." Ling Yi felt like he was sitting on pins and needles as she took out the rag. He was rarely afraid of anything, but now he was a little afraid. He was afraid that Xiangyi would scold him. However, Xiangyi just took a few pieces of cloth and gave one to Shui. Shui wiped the table skillfully. It was obvious that she had done a lot of housework. Xiangyi handed another rag to Ling Yi. "Here, wipe your hands." Ling Yi anxiously waited for her to continue. After waiting for a long time, she only said, "What's wrong? Are you scalded?" Ling Yi couldn't accurately describe his feelings at that moment. He pursed his lips and said, "Sorry, I spilled the vegetables. Everyone makes mistakes like this." The young girl wiped the area that Shui had wiped. "There's still some left in the pot. Can you go and get another bowl?" Qin Wanyan retorted. "Xiangyi, Ling Ye's hands need to play the zither and piano. How can you let his hands do such vulgar work?" She thought that she had hit the nail on the head. The next second, Ling Yi said without hesitation, "I can do it." He then glanced at Qin Wanyan. "A man's hands can do anything." Qin Wanyan? Chapter 494. "Wait, are you my assistant or Xiangyi's lackey? Why did you betray me just like that?" Qin Wanyan couldn't figure it out. As for Ling Yi, the way he went to scoop a bowl of rice made it seem as if he was going to complete some important mission. "Wait a minute." Xiangyi suddenly called out to him. Ling Yi looked back nervously. "Him? Sis? Don't fill it too full. It'll burn you if it spills." Ling Yi knew that this was just a casual reminder. If it were anyone else, she would have said the same thing. However, Ling Ye's heart still skipped a beat. Even in the most fearful and despairing world, he still had an unyielding will. Only in front of her, would he submit to her gentleness. Ling Yi realized that he still couldn't resist her. Qin Wanyan volunteered. "I'll go with him." She didn't let the cameraman follow them. When they passed by an area without cameras, she signaled for Ling Yi to turn off his microphone. Ling Yi lazily turned it off. "What's the matter?" Qin Wanyan couldn't keep her cool. "Ling Yi, what's the meaning of this? Are you trying to ruin my show in front of everyone?" "Am I?" Ling Yi blinked innocently. His angelic face looked even more pitiful than a girl's when he showed weakness. "Sis Wanyan, you misunderstood me. I just want to perform well. If I have popularity, I can help you better, Sister Wanyan." Qin Wanyan was obviously shaken. The youth seized the opportunity to question her. "Sis Wanyan, do you not trust me? If that's the case, I might not be able to help you." Qin Wanyan was anxious. "Don't you want to complete your mission?" "Of course I want to." Like hell he wanted to. A safe and stable plane like this was something that could only be encountered by chance. To Ling Yi, it was no different from a vacation. Of course he didn't want to leave. He even wanted to stay here forever. But Ling Yi looked conflicted. "But Sis Wanyan, if you don't trust me, I won't be able to cooperate with you." Qin Wanyan felt that Ling Yi was still useful when she thought about the convenience he had created for her. Thus, she softened her tone and comforted him. "Don't think too much. I'm just afraid that you'll be charmed by that woman Xiangyi. She's an idiot. Look at how she's being cursed on the internet." Ling Yi suddenly narrowed his eyes as a sharp glint appeared in his amber eyes. "By the way, is there any way for me to quickly conquer Shui? It would be best if I could replace Xiangyi and become a permanent guest of Two Under One Roof. Wouldn't I be able to complete my career and obtain love at the same time?" "Sister Wanyan wants to snatch away Xiangyi's things?" Ling Yi asked. Qin Wanyan was filled with a sense of superiority. "That should have been mine in the first place. I'm the chosen one. Who does she think she is? He's just an ordinary person." Ling Yi smiled and said, "Sister Wanyan, it's not good to be too greedy." Qin Wanyan frowned. She had a feeling that Ling Yi was implying something, but his expression was too harmless. She suppressed her suspicions towards Ling Yi and threatened, "If you don't help me properly, I'll make sure that you can't complete your mission." Ling Yi lowered his eyelids and replied obediently, "I know." By the time a new bowl of fish with pickled cabbage was served, the comments in the live broadcast room were already unbearable. Countless netizens on Weibo were either sarcastic or filled with righteous indignation, but all of them were criticizing Xiangyi. "Thank you, Miss Xiang, for donating the air to the Spring Flower Foundation. You haven't done anything yet you want to suck blood? Dream on. Come out and get beaten up." You're still in the mood to eat? Do you know how many children can't even afford to eat? I know. Sob sob. Good night. Chapter 495. These netizens were all there because of Mistson and the Spring Flower Foundation. Hence, it was only natural for them to target Xiangyi. Even though Tomato Entertainment immediately clarified that Xiangyi did not mention donating to the Spring Flower Foundation and that it was Qin Wanyan who mentioned it, there were still people who retorted. Since she didn't donate, why didn't she refute Qin Wanyan when she mentioned it? Instead, she tried to ride on Qin Wanyan's coattails. The public relations department was speechless. This batch of netizens is so stubborn. Are you all the reincarnations of Archimedes? At the same time, the Spring Flower Foundation's official Weibo account updated a long post with pictures and text, describing how their organization had gone to a mountain village to donate sanitary products to the girls there. There was a paragraph written on Weibo. Xiao Zhu is 13 years old this year and her monthly allowance is only 20 yuan. Sanitary pads are a huge burden to her. She once thought about dropping out of school. However, our arrival caused stars to appear in Little Bamboo's eyes. Coupled with a photo of a mountain village girl smiling innocently at the camera, as well as a letter written by a young girl, many netizens were moved to tears, especially the female netizens. Sob sob, you girls are living such a miserable life. I'll donate money to you now. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I won't let you suffer like I did back then. The Spring Flower Foundation is the real charity. Celebrities like Xiangyi who only know how to ride on others' coattails are disgusting. Now that you compare them, they're both fair, rich and beautiful, but the difference is huge. Mistson is practically an angel on earth. Miss Jianghu, don't try to wash away some maggots. Your steam won't be able to wash them clean. The Spicy Tutu fans were dumbfounded. What's with these people's logic? Ride on others' coattails? Who exactly is riding on others' coattails? Although Mistson was famous, she was only an internet celebrity. Xiangyi was now an A-list celebrity who had been certified by national news. As for the Spring Flower Foundation, they had received so many donations, but they hadn't even released a single financial statement after so long. Who knew where the money had gone? Taking 10,000 steps back, even if Xiangyi really didn't do charity, what was there to mock? At first, Spicy Tutu couldn't take it anymore and went to talk to the netizens. However, she was quickly stopped by the big fans. On the internet, we represent Xiangyi and we can't bring trouble to her. Tutu girls, don't panic, we have to believe in Xiangyi. It had to be said that the Spicy Tutu girls were all highly disciplined. After some guidance, apart from a few who were a little agitated, most of them had calmed down. That's right, they had to believe in Xiangyi. On the other hand, Mistson had bought a few hot searches for herself. For a moment, she was in the limelight on Weibo, and her number of fans increased rapidly. At this moment, among the loving family, Xiang Qi, who liked to surf the internet, forwarded the Weibo post to the group and added a lot of angry emojis. Sanbao, I'm so angry. What kind of purebred idiot is this? I want to throw a sewing machine at them. Sanbao? We changed the group nickname. So lame. Come out and accept your death. Dabao, little sister changed it. Sanbao has withdrawn a message. Sanbao, wow. Little sister's name is so cute, heartwarming, and loving. Dabao, Airbao, Sanbao, Sibao, Xiaobao, we're an auspicious and happy family. Dabao, big brother, don't you think so? Big brother, are you there? Are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Sibao. Third brother, you have no integrity. Chapter 496. Sangchen didn't reply. Instead, Xiang Li popped up and sent a smiley emoticon with an unclear meaning. Sanbao, second brother, don't smile like that. I'm afraid of crying. Sibao. Third brother, don't flatter yourself. Maybe he wasn't smiling at you. Sanbao, Jokes aside, he still had to protect his sister. Sanbao, it's just a trending topic. Who doesn't know how to be on it? Not long after that, #Hades' personal show trended at an astonishing speed on Weibo. When the fashion industry saw this, they were shocked. The genius Hades, who had been away for a long time, was returning. Not only did Hades' studio announce the upcoming show, but they also released a set of 9 ready-to-wear designs. Each design was unbelievably beautiful. However, the studio claimed that these were the 9 designs that they were most dissatisfied with among Hades' works this time. Instantly, all the big shots in the fashion industry reposted it, but the content was all? Countless fashion designers tearfully typed, "Is this what a genius is? If I can design one in my lifetime, I'll die with no regrets." The netizens' comments also exploded. F***ck, it's so good. Is there a link? Looks like this year's fashion style is going to be redefined. Hades? What's his relationship with Kelsey? Are they brothers? Mistson saw that the netizens' attention was shifting. She couldn't bear to lose the popularity, so she spent money to buy a new trending topic. This time, the Spring Flower Foundation released a video of an interview with the girls who stayed behind. The girls in the video had timid eyes and avoided the camera. However, from their words, one could feel their helplessness and sadness. Coupled with the emotional soundtrack and artistic editing, as well as the popularity of the trending topic, the video quickly went viral. The Spring Flower Foundation once again took the top spot on the trending topic. However, within a few minutes, a new trending topic appeared. Team Logic World Championship. The first to stir up was the esports industry. *CK. They won the championship. No need to say anything else. Logic is awesome. It's over. All of a sudden, Weibo became a carnival for esports fans. Ordinary netizens might not be able to understand the gameplay, but this was an international competition. The international tournament. Forget it, to be able to win the world championship, they must be praised. Especially when the video of the 5-man team of Logic going on stage to receive the award went viral, the popularity reached a terrifying level. Ah, who's the younger brother in the center? I'm screaming like a groundhog. Are you sure you won't debut with such a good-looking face? *CK. That side profile, that height, when his teammate hugged him just now, he rubbed against his shirt and even exposed the outline of his abs. Isn't this the standard image of a male lead in an esports novel? Madame Tsun watched helplessly as the trending topic that she had bought fell again. She called the staff to question them, but the other party's response was particularly shameless. We can't do anything about this. The other party's trending topic is real traffic. Our server is about to crash. In other words, your trending searches are all fake. How can you blame us? Madame Tsun was speechless for a moment before she said irritably, I'll pay more. You guys have to stay in the top 3 for me. The staff immediately agreed, thinking that this lady had already been squeezed out of the trending topic twice. She shouldn't be so unlucky again, right?